No Jumper, coolest podcast in the world. I'm back with Destiny, the blue-haired liberal, Dick Masterson, Vito.
And this guy.
Vito. Right.
Yeah.
And our quiet, pixie-esque female compatriot is here. The mic's not even close to her face. I don't know what the odds are of her speaking, but she already got her TikTok content on the last episode, so should be all right.
All right.
All right. So, okay, this is my first question: is what's the lineage of your relationship with both Dick and Vito? Because I seen you guys do a podcast together back in the day, but I'm curious how you guys know each other.
This should be fun. Are we doing a debate today? The email said debate, and I got a.
What are we debating?
I just show up to the episodes, you know.
Yeah,
Okay.
he never
They
has
email
any
me,
idea.
I look at the sub count of the channel, and I say yes if it's over 1 million or no if it's under.
I had a panic attack. I was like, oh, God, not another debate with Destiny. I'm not prepared for this. I need to start doing Adderall yesterday.
What did you guys previously debate?
I think we've argued about Trump. We've argued about...
I think I was defending Mr. Medicare's honor the first
think
time we
so, yeah.
spoke.
Who's that?
A guy who retired recently.
Okay.
dying.
It was about Trump and racism. It was a wild time.
So you're a big Trump guy?
I was. I'm not. So
he
such
was like
big
a
Trump
necessary
anymore.
foil for you to kind of shut down at a certain point, since you're so into like.
I'd say I was an inspiring figure for Dick, for sure.
Do you feel like you're
Definitely
Destiny?
up to me.
Are you Destiny's friend, or are you someone that Destiny
These guys
is
are downplaying
mining
it.
for
Hold
culture,
on,
for
hold on.
content?
Dick hated Destiny.
Ah.
You literally like called him out. And you're like, this guy is a slime ball, and he debates all slimy and shit. And then you guys.
I did
hated
say
each
all
other.
those things.
Yeah.
For like an hour
He
and a
tweeted
half.
them.
And now you guys.
I think I watched his Dr. Phil video, and I was like, this guy hates women, and these jokes aren't funny because these are offensive to women. Yeah, and then we had a back and forth.
And now you guys
that's
go-
fair also. I think we both had each other's number right away.
This is you're both kind of like, no, we've always been like kind of cool and like, you know, next. No, you
Okay,
fucking
there's-
hated him, and he fucking hated you.
There's a certain type of personality, okay? So I have a very Hispanic background, so I'm sure you can tell.
Yeah.
And in my household, okay, we can scream at each other, call each other idiots, and everything's cool afterwards because this is how you do it. I
Right.
think Dick is kind of like
Yeah,
that.
that's
I'm
totally
definitely
true.
like that. So I can fight with somebody a lot, but as long as they're chill afterwards, I don't give a.
I was just having that conversation with my girl about the fact that I heard, because she always kind of gets on my case about being too aggressive and just being too confrontational. And I'm watching you tell your girl to shut the up like 5 times in the course of a 30-minute clip. And I told my girl, I'm like, look, I'm not the only person who's this aggressive, because I know I could never talk to you like that. And look at this meek little, and he's out here just using obscenities.
Is that the male feminist in you coming out? Did that really happen?
What?
Everything that you're just describing?
Well, except
Yeah,
for
he
the meek
tells her to
part.
shut the
Except the meek part, yeah.
He
Everything
doesn't
happens.
self-identify as meek.
See, we rubbed off on each other then, I guess.
Well, I
over the
always
years.
treat women poorly because it's the negging thing, you know. It keeps them,
Yeah.
you know, like if he's just mean to me, but he's just nice to me, the back and forth really head. So.
Aren't you married?
Yeah, I've
The
got her
ne-
for like 4 years so
The
far. So it's
negging
working.
continues,
Yeah,
huh?
exactly. Yeah.
Oh, I had no idea. But so you guys feel like do you feel like his friend, or are you like a content source for Destiny?
I'm definitely not a content source for you. You're too big for that.
We're like
I
friendly.
think.
I think we make good content together.
Well, he needs
Yeah,
There
foils.
was we did our fight on the internet, and about 50 years passed where neither of us had sent anything to each other, and then somehow a recruiter for another podcast called Painkiller Already, PKA,
Yeah.
got both of us on an episode.
I think that I'm on their jizz supplement.
Oh, nice. True. Oh, yeah, because
Is
they
it
promote the
working?
same one,
Is it
Locked and
working for
Loaded.
you?
I don't know. We were just
Yeah.
talking about that, how I want to start jizzing on a scale and like
Yeah.
measuring it. Yeah.
I've always wanted to check it out every time they promote it.
Well, shout out to more
Does
plates,
it make
more
you
dates.
come more?
It's supposed,
supposed
to.
to.
Yeah. Does it increase the amount your shooting distance?
That's not promised. I think it's mostly just volume.
Well, hold on. If you're coming more, it must increase the distance. It's got to go somewhere, right?
No, because
Can you imagine if you've got a huge load and it's just like all like a
Pouring out
water
like a
faucet?
waterfall.
Well, you have to imagine that.
You know that I am obsessed with the question of shooters versus dribblers because there are some men who cannot shoot cum. It always dribbles.
Yeah.
And they have-
it's a mental technique thing.
You think you have to focus
You
on
have
shooting?
there's a lot going on with everything to make it, because you can have the same load could be a shooter or a dribbler depending on how you're handling yourself.
Yeah, like Dragon Balling it when you're waiting to like push that first.
Yeah,
squeeze.
you're like
you know,
because
see,
like if
this
you're
is
just
why we're good friends.
Exactly. If you jerk your way through the whole orgasm, it's just gonna come.
Yeah.
But when you get at the end, you have to like it's like a
You
snake
do have to
tamer. You
finesse.
gotta
Okay.
very, very, very carefully.
I hear
And
you.
then for sure.
But
Yeah.
do you kind of like give it a pinch at some point so
Yeah.
that you can then deliver the full power of the load all at once?
I've
I've
try
never-
that now.
Well,
You got to super soaker it. You got to build up the pressure and then release.
I've tried a variety of different like dick pinching techniques as well because I'll be doing porn and I have to like try to like cool my fucking erection down at some point because I feel like I'm about to come. And I've tried like a bunch of different like ways of squeezing it to get it to like deflate a bit. And I don't know that any of them really seem to work.
Yeah.
If anything, I think it probably keeps it harder.
I've heard flexing your quads. I don't know if that's true. It's supposed to make your boner go away, but I've never been like in a dire situation
Anything
where
you
I have
can
to
do
get
to
rid of an
draw
erection.
blood to other parts of your body would kind of make sense. Maybe just flex, like hit a front double bicep in the
Maybe.
corner by yourself.
Have you ever injected saline into your ball sack?
No,
I have.
into your ball sack.
Yeah, your
What?
scrotum.
Just to make your scrotum bigger.
Dude,
Yeah.
you have like a 2-liter reservoir of stretch in your scrotum that you can hang up an IV bag and just chill out for an hour, and your ball sack.
Explain that
will
you did this
be-
as a stunt, not like recreational.
That the first time I did it was as a stunt, but
Oh.
then every other time, it's awesome.
Really, just
Highly
having a big
recommend.
sack.
It wasn't
like,
awesome when you did it.
Wait,
Like in that
love
old
it.
grandpa movie when he's doing the prank in Jackass where he's got
Yeah.
the ball sack hanging down.
Yeah.
You could do that naturally.
Yes.
Well, because there's that furry kid who came in and he like does it all the time, right?
Yeah. Then
Wait, where's the awesome part? Are you getting to that?
You have huge balls.
Huge balls.
you have no control over it. Everyone's offended by it because you're walking around with this giant bloated ball sack. It's like, well, this is just my body.
Were you on
There's
the same
nothing I
page
can
as
do.
me when I noticed Zerka's huge dick through his pants in the middle of the?
Well, the problem is you
last
said it,
episode?
and then I wanted to look, and I'm like, this would probably be the gayest shit, unironically, I've ever done in my life.
You gotta
Just
look.
staring
I've
at another
never
guy's-
seen such a dick print, Zerka, in the entirety of my history doing this.
Keep that piece in. My ex did a fat hit piece.
His
on
ex
my dick.
did a
He thought
a hit
so.
piece,
She said
talking
small
shit about his
dicks
dick.
for like hours, so put that shit in.
I absolutely will be leaving that in. And I absolutely also think that he should be working in the porn industry or start wearing underwear because I'm assuming he's freeballing it with that outline.
He might be.
You got a dick hit piece written on like.
She dissed his cock.
Oh, those.
What
bitches.
True, that's fucked up.
Yeah.
Where does the saline go?
Oh, you absorb it, so it's also great for hangovers. Like if you have like a built-in reservoir like a camel.
Doctors
to
hate it. This
rehydrate.
crazy. Hangover
So if you have a night out
cure.
drinking and you don't want to fucking drink water between shots or whatever, just fill
Hook
your
it up
ball
to your
sack up
balls.
on the
Jam
way.
Yeah.
a needle in
Just
your balls.
Do it on Friday
and
night.
fill 'em
You a
with
big drinker?
saline.
Yeah.
How's that going?
Bad.
Really?
It's getting harder every year, but I'm committed to the alcohol.
Dude, you need a few good drunks on the crew, don't you think? Like, there's just so much content to be had once you have somebody getting drunk. I'm not willing to do it at this point, but if you have someone get drunk on if you get drunk on stream, it's gonna be fucking entertaining, right?
Sure.
Void of anything else.
I think
Yeah,
it
it's
loosens
gonna
up
be good.
the show, yeah.
Well, but do alcoholics get drunk? Because I feel like when alcoholics drink, they just get a little bit more mad, and that's it.
That's a hard question to answer. We do. I think we still do get drunk.
Like,
Definitely mad.
Do you get high? I see you
Yeah,
smoke
but
so
not
much,
high
but,
like
like-
the way that you were when I was breathing hits in your face during the debate with the Christians. I'll probably never get to quite that level, but
Interesting. Gotcha.
So we got Parent Trapped by PKA. That's what brought us back together. Painkiller already. They brought us on secretly.
Yeah,
Um,
it was fun.
and then I don't know.
and you guys were willing to get past it.
Well, there's nothing to get past. We say dumb shit as whatever.
Where are you at with your Trump fandom at this point?
Oh man, he abandoned a lot of his guys on J6. I don't know if he was meaning to accidentally, illegally try to take over the government.
It's
but
kind
he-
of hard to tell what's intentional. At
Yeah,
this
but
point.
he did accidentally, I think, illegally try to take over the government, and he didn't realize that until it was too late. And I don't think a lot of the guys I don't think any of them should be in jail, and I don't think anyone in America thinks they should be in jail.
I do. Fuck them.
Even the hat guy, the lady with the podium, that guy, you think that-
especially the lady with the podium.
Yeah. Okay. Well,
That's a podium of
How about the
Congress,
ones-
we got one
okay?
guy.
The ones who were like taking swings at cops and like breaking, like, yeah, you get a couple
Support
years.
that. So
Well,
I mean, that's an American
I
tradition.
will say,
taking
Trump united people in so many different ways. I never thought I would see conservatives cheering for cops to get killed in protests so quickly off the back of BLM. I was like,
Yep.
we're interesting.
I've been way ahead of the curve on that one. Glad to see you guys over here.
Oh,
But
man.
okay, you acknowledging that Trump might have been in the wrong during January 6th, is that having like the effect that it had on Fox News when they basically started acknowledging that Trump had lost and it was basically like destroying their ratings?
I don't know. I might have to parse that question.
You're asking, did he suffer like repercussions by not?
We're on YouTube,
backing
right? I don't know
Trump?
how much I can say on that.
Say whatever you want.
Biden won. Biden won.
Right.
He whatever the process is, he won it. Whether he cheated better than Trump, yeah, or Trump was just sleeping at the wheel and thought maybe he could appeal to the Supreme Court or a Republican Party that has hated him since day one. He made a lot of errors. He made a lot of bad decisions. I still love the guy. I think he still changed I think he still unveiled a lot of what the government is to a lot of people, and that I'm grateful for that, and I think we should all be grateful for that. He's still probably the funniest insult comic who ever lived, and that is more important to me than anything else. So.
Yeah, it is weird how like a little bit of hindsight, even for somebody like me who's a big Trump hater, it's like when his Twitter came back and all of a sudden everybody starts retweeting some of the shit that he had said back in the day that people kind of forgot about. It was just like, we really took this guy for granted. Like,
Yeah.
This was fucking hilarious.
Yeah.
But it seemed kind of serious at the time. I don't remember thinking it was that funny.
Well,
at
because you don't know
times.
what the stakes are when you're in it, right?
Yeah.
We all have fucking hilarious stories, I imagine, from dumb shit we've done.
Where
in
your
our
life
youth.
was in danger.
Yeah, and survive. And it's really funny to talk about it later, but at the time, you're like, I don't know if I'm going to fucking survive this or not. And I think we
Yeah.
were all kind of like looking to the west for those North Korean missiles to become flying in or whatever the fuck Trump was going to do. So it wasn't, it was a little harder to laugh at the time, I think.
And now we're worried about now that he's gone, we're worried about World War III and talking about sending American sons and daughters over to die for God knows what reason,
But-
right? Like now
Well-
we're back to reality.
Well, there
Would-
was a deep fake clip, okay?
Would you like to, do you think that Trump would be doing a better job handling Ukraine right now?
Define better.
Yeah.
More comical, funnier?
A funnier war.
Yeah, I think that he doesn't have his family over there to enrich with a bunch of like corrupt bureaucrats and politicians. So
Mm.
yeah, Trump benefits from stealing shit for his American friends. All these guys, I think, who are running the country now, benefit by siphoning money off into one of the most corrupt governments in the world. I don't know. What do you? I know you. Are you a Biden fan?
I'm a
Are you
big
ha-
Biden fan. I don't
you're a
know
big
how
Biden
deep we want to
fan.
go into the Ukraine.
Look
Bigger
at
than
the
Richard
hair.
Spencer?
Probably.
Look at the hair. We got Richard Spencer tomorrow.
Oh, do you? That'll be
Literally, yeah.
fun.
Oh, is that in person?
That's real.
Oh god, I didn't even know. I thought you were fucking with me.
Are you offended by what's going on in Ukraine from the
I'm
level
a big
of corruption?
supporter of.
Oh, you're-
I'm a supporter of the Ukraine shit. I love it. Absolutely.
I
I'm
can't
dying
tell
on
if you're
it.
joking
I'm
or not.
serious.
No,
I
he's
just don't know how serious you want to get into the conversation.
Okay.
I will say though, like people talking about Hunter Biden for whatever the fuck crackhead foot jobs bullshit went on his fucking laptop that seemed to turn a blind eye to like fucking Jared Kushner and shit like that. Pretty fucking funny to me. But yeah, I don't know. But
So what's your position? Mostly that we should be staying out of it with Ukraine because of the risk of World War III or because it's costing us billions of dollars, or what's your main
Yeah, you could
stance here?
start there. I don't think we should have any money or any guys over there. I think the territories that seceded from Ukraine deserve to be independent, and that they've been getting abused by whatever regime has been installed or voted in there for decades.
But if they want to fight, why shouldn't they be able to fight to defend their land?
Ukraine?
Yeah.
Yeah, go nuts, fight. Go fight Russia. Let us know how it works out.
Leave us out of it.
I mean, they're hanging in there, right?
No,
Yeah,
they're doing
Got
pretty
a good
good.
year under their belt.
They're doing
I
pretty
don't know. I don't know if they are hanging in there. What did you see the NATO post of that they're fighting like Voldemort and Darth Vader, and this is the Death Star?
Mm.
Like I don't know. That sounds a little phony to me. I think they're kind of getting fed. I think they might be getting fed into a meat grinder over there, and we're just not seeing it. But
It's hard to tell the numbers because I tried to look up the numbers of like how many dead, and it's just like depending on who you go to, it's like, oh, there's like 10 billion Russians dead and only 10 Ukrainians. And then you go to a different site, it's like, we've killed a bajillion Ukrainians and not a single Russian soldier has died. And I'm like, I don't know how this war is going.
Yeah.
It's very propagandized.
Well, let's ask our war correspondent.
It's always hard to
war
get exact
effort.
numbers, I think, until after, but I think Ukraine is obviously doing pretty well, considering Russia was
They're doing much
like,
better than
planned to win the
anticipated.
war in 2 fucking weeks, I think was the original
Right.
assumption. I think there's been a lot of embarrassing capabilities or lack thereof demonstrated by the Russian military. I think it's kind of funny, but did you ever see the Chernobyl show?
It's hilarious.
There's like there's like this idea that like everybody's kind of sucking each other off and nobody's really paying attention to what's going on, which is kind of like, to be fair, it's like the capitalist strawman version of like a communist regime where like, oh, they must all care about what, each other thinks and they're lying about the numbers. But it seems like unironically that probably was happening in Russia, where unit readiness wasn't being reported correctly, the maintenance of the vehicles wasn't being reported correctly, and nobody's really keeping too close an eye on it. And then when it comes time to go to war, they're completely ill-equipped compared to where people thought they would be.
So what do you say to people who say that we're basically coming too close to World War III with our stance?
I mean,
in
we might go
Ukraine?
close to World War III, but I mean, it's Russia that's driving it. The reality is you can't just let somebody take over. Like, imagine if somebody comes in your house with a gun and they're like, I'm going to steal all of your shit. And if you don't let me steal your shit, I might shoot you. Like, I mean, you're probably going to shoot back. You're not just going to let them keep doing it. And then what, are you going to let them do it every single
That's
week,
called
every single
taxes.
month?
They do it. They do
Yeah.
it constantly. That's
Yeah, but
called
you
property
you get
tax. I don't
something
want
for
to
your
pay any of
taxes.
it.
Yeah.
But is there no war that we should not get involved in? Like, clearly Biden's being very tactful with how he approaches this
Yeah, I mean,
war,
obviously
right?
there should be somewhere, but it's fucking Europe.
Right.
So an important continent, okay? We're not talking Africa or South America. We're talking about the one we actually learn about in school, okay? It's Europe. We got to care about Europe, Since 91, Ukraine has existed as a country with the Donbass and with Crimea. And I mean, as part of the country, it's kind of weird for somebody to just walk in and say, I'm taking your shit.
Right.
And for the rest of the world to be like, okay, I guess.
Is there a final money amount that you'd put on it? Like if you had to Prices Right it and say like, well, we're not going to pay more than, I don't know.
Excuse me, I'm
we're
an
not
American.
going to pay more
I'm
than
an American.
Afghanistan.
Freedom is priceless to me. Okay?
Yeah.
I don't know what kind of blood is pumping through your veins, but it's a good
Mexican.
red.
That's my Mexican side.
Okay. So
I feel like we just have to do whatever we can against Russia because we don't have a better supervillain to spend our money on. Like, if we're going to spend money on anything, it should just be attacking our sole enemy, right?
which is Russia or
Russia, yeah.
oh.
I don't know.
What about Satan? He's coming back. He's a pretty bad. He's a
Satan
pretty
is-
we
good
should
bad
just
guy,
kind of
right?
like turn them into Satan, right? Like we just kind of pretend that they are Satan, like
Yeah.
metaphorically.
I mean, they could also just not, they could just not invade Crimea and steal shit from Ukraine.
They're
I was
probably
going to
thinking
say,
that.
I don't think we needed Russia to be our enemy. We were pretty cool with them. We were like, stop fucking around, stop, fucking in our elections and whatever else. But, all our businesses were over there. They had McDonald's, they had the Gap and whatever else.
Not anymore.
Not anymore.
No more
Well,
Big Macs, no more McNuggets.
they're still sneaking in there. They have weird workarounds.
Contraband, yeah.
Yeah. Well,
You don't want any of those.
all
Man,
the
if you thought
company-
the normal McNuggets were fake meat, who knows what the black market McNuggets are made out of? That's
No,
where all the Ukrainian soldiers are going.
all the companies are just rebranding, and I think just letting the Chinese sell their stuff in Russia. So it's just like, oh yeah, Adidas, we're leaving. Also, we're just gonna get a middleman, and they're still Adidas stores. They're just called something else.
Vito, who the fuck are you?
I am the co-host of The Biggest Problem in the Universe with Dick Masterson.
Okay.
I'm a YouTuber with 250,000 subscribers.
I've seen that. And you do a lot of videos about people who have been canceled for things.
Yeah, I do that. I went to me and Dick went to
JK.
the Dave Chappelle protest
Oh,
at Netflix, and we counter-protested, and we got a lot of press and flack for that.
how did you guys connect?
Dick almost got killed.
Yeah, I was made retarded at the protest.
Retarded-er, I think.
Retarded-er.
Antifa came
This was after
for
the
my
Trump
man.
stuff, if you could believe it. We went to the Dave Chappelle thing with signs that said, jokes are funny, and we like Dave. And the trans people all must have been on their periods that day because they took our signs and destroyed them and beat us and threw me into a concrete anti-homeless
They were very
sculpture.
violent trans peaceful activists, as they
Yeah.
would call themselves.
I'm just saying, the
Yeah.
injuries that they levied against Dick was a pretty good argument against trans women in combat sports.
I think I remember that, but I had no idea it was you.
Yeah, nobody does because Vito got all the news coverage.
Oh,
I was
right.
in all the pictures.
He's a
Everybody likes
YouTuber.
fun.
That's his job. Good
I'm
job.
a YouTube guy.
But
yeah.
what does getting beat up at a protest do for your socials? Like, you see the bump in the social blade?
I got a big bump there because people were excited when you're fighting for comedy, free speech, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
The problem is then they follow me and I'm a disgusting liberal and I'm like, this Trump guy sucks, and they go, hey, fuck this guy. But
Yeah.
Damn, so is that hard on you guys' friendship?
sometimes Dick says some things that I go, hey, we're gonna get banned from YouTube if you keep saying this.
Oh
shit.
yeah, actually, that is
dumb
kind of
motherfucker.
that's a big point of contention.
Yeah.
because I don't
Have no
know-
filter.
I don't know what is wrong to say. Like
Do
I
you really not know? Or like what's over the line? Because I feel like I usually I could tell in the moment like what's gonna get us.
The problem is I
strike.
have that so often that if I listen to it, I would just be a totally different guy and comedian. So like I have that feeling all the time.
It's also, it's really hard when you've been on the internet. Not to sound like a boomer, but when you've been on the internet doing content for how long have you been doing your show?
Like God, 10 years.
Okay, yes, yeah, and I've been on for 12. Dude, 10 years ago, you could say the craziest fucking shit. It like wasn't.
Yeah.
It was no comparison, and there were no filters. There was no hate speech. There were no racial slurs getting you banned from anything. You could just
Yeah.
do whatever. It was insane.
The rules keep changing, and you can't keep track of what the current rule is. And then somebody else takes over. Right now, YouTube's got a new president, so you don't know, is it going to get worse? Is it going to get better?
I heard he's an
Gonna get
NFT guy,
worse.
I don't know if that's
so it's
helpful.
probably gonna get better.
I hope so.
Yeah, we're all gonna get cool.
But then Dick, we're doing a show, and he goes, "Well, Bob
Your
Saget
hate-
died because he got the vaccine." And I go, "Well, you shut the fuck up! You can't say that."
It's funny though.
It is funny, and that's what sucks. Is I know you're making a joke, but whatever stupid YouTube censor, blue hair, teenage checkmark F-slur is in there doesn't get the joke.
Yeah.
and they think you're serious.
Like I
You ever notice every left-leaning person got fucking long COVID? And every right-leaning person has vaccine
Isn't
Oh,
side
that
effects.
crazy?
Isn't it crazy how
Yeah.
the type of side effect you get is
My
so
vaccine
closely
side effects make me so fat and irritable in the morning. I hate them.
There was the guy.
I didn't even get vaccinated, but I'm getting all that
You're true,
shedding
yeah.
shit from my girlfriend.
Really?
Yeah.
I think I might have long COVID.
Are you a
think we
liberal
all
or?
Probably more so than a conservative, I guess.
I just think it's fun. Like everybody, when somebody dies, they like try to pretend that they're worried about his health. They're like, well, let's get some more information about his vaccine. And I just like to go, yeah, he was vaccinated. You guys all killed him. You killed him with your like. Let's just go. Let's say what we want to say.
Well, our version of that is when somebody fucking dies who wasn't vaccinated, but who was hating on the vaccine publicly, and
love
then we
those.
get to sort of dance on his
yeah.
grave.
And he openly dances on their grave, which
I'm
I
allowed
think
to,
is
'cause
cool.
the rules
Wow.
benefit liberals.
Wow.
That is true.
YouTube's on my side.
How did Fuentes get unsuspended off Twitter for one day and then get deleted the next day? And we never got any kind of confirmation, right, about what he did or said.
Something.
We have no idea who's running these. Who's in charge of making the decision?
I don't
know.
even think he tweeted.
some-
It was something he
Is
said
it some
in a
intern
did
in
his
India?
face.
Yeah.
Like, what is it?
It's a series of zeros and ones and zeros. It's all fucking automatic.
It's horrifying.
These days.
It's
Yeah,
horrifying.
It's all automatic.
That's the thing that scares me the most is that I don't even think these decisions are being made by human beings. They're running the transcript of our show through an algorithm. If the
Yeah.
robot picks up too many red flag words, it goes, I'm going to take your livelihood away.
Okay, but
That's
if you're-
actually that is what happens. I don't know if you're joking.
No, but
that is
Fuentes-
what
Yeah,
says-
well, but
Yeah.
but then when you escalate it, does a real person look at it then?
a real person looks and makes sure that everything ran correctly.
Yeah,
and then that's it.
make sure
Yeah.
the robot.
If
There
you want an
are,
actual
there are
review, you gotta-
thousands of active anti-Fuentes people on the internet who I guarantee were watching any Spaces account that he was on Twitter and definitely reporting anything that he said that
Oh,
was even
sure.
slightly edgy. So for him, it's not like he's just getting hit with the random consequences of the algorithm. He's got fucking Media Matters monitoring every move he makes
Yeah.
as soon as he gets back on Twitter. And him getting deleted right away is a huge W for them, right?
Can we talk about all these people that wanted to fucking boycott the Harry Potter game? We're never gonna fucking play it anyway. Where are all these Elon haters? Why the fuck didn't these lefties all boycott Twitter and stop fucking using it? Why
Well,
the
they
fuck
went to
didn't that happen?
Mastodon before they
Yeah, like-
realized that it sucks and is full of child pornography. and they're
And they
like,
all came
well,
back on
that's-
Twitter. I just think it's lame. If you want to boycott something, give up something that's actually hard to give up. You fuckers are obsessed with
Yeah.
Twitter. You know that Elon, who's basically fucking Hitler 2.0 to you guys in a fucking electric car instead of a Volkswagen. Now you guys are supporting all of Twitter and all of Elon's advertising shit by tweeting all that. I don't know. It seems kind of fucked up.
Well, it was
'Cause
like
you're right.
football. Oh yeah, go
No,
ahead,
because it would have been
sorry.
hard for them to give it up, but they can
Exactly.
avoid playing the video game.
They're like the kids that gave up fucking like diet soda for Lent or some shit or some pop that you never drank.
It's like when Nickelodeon had the big help and you had to call into the hotline and pledge hours to clean up your community. And I would just call in and be like, 1 billion hours and hang up the phone.
What a dick.
I spent a lot of time hating on what Elon's done with the verification system on Twitter, which I think is totally fair. But the other day, I had the realization that, it completely makes sense for me to pay for the verification Twitter Blue thing on my porn account, Plug Talk, because you get better amplification. I noticed that when I look at my For You tab on Twitter, then I'm seeing people with Twitter Blue over and over and over, and like not particularly popular posts. So it's not the kind of shit they normally show you, where it'll show me something from somebody I don't even follow that's really viral, but it shows you Twitter Blue stuff nonstop. So it's just a purely pragmatic thing. Even though I think that what he's done with the verification has been a disaster, it still just makes sense to pay for it.
And everybody's following suit. Facebook's doing it, right? Instagram.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I'll probably end up paying on there too.
It's one of those things where they realize, like, why leave money on the table? Everybody's obsessed with our service. You can probably charge $100 to have your fucking profile blink and scream rainbow noises.
Well, like all they had to say was you get access to customer support on Instagram if you pay $12 a month or whatever, because I know infinite people on Instagram that have just been dying for some kind of customer support for all these years.
Yeah.
But the problem with social media companies is it just doesn't make sense business-wise for them to fucking pay.
No, it's horrifying. They make decisions without ever
Yeah.
consulting you or telling you what you did wrong.
Right.
You get strikes on your account. For YouTube, the only way to contact them is to tweet at a random
Yeah.
account on Twitter. You're like, this is your official customer services on Twitter? Why is it
It
not
works
on?
really well too.
And it does!
And it's funny because I'll have like a 620,000 sub YouTube channel, and if I get dinged, I'm like, fuck. But then I'll go to my 100,000 follower Twitter account, and I have like fucking, the CEO of
Personal
YouTube on their knees, like, how can we
service.
help you? Yeah, it's like, that's kind of fucking weird that I have to go to a whole other social
No,
media
it makes
thing.
no fucking sense.
Yeah.
It's crazy. It's the unbearable silence of our technological overlords that they have complete control. They don't tell us what the rules are. And when you go, well, can I just like talk to? Well, I just want to talk to a human being. I just want to know there's someone there. And they're like, we can't give you.
But
that.
in
I'm
retrospect,
sorry.
now that we understand that the premium user experience on every social network is going to involve you paying like 10 or 15 bucks a month, it does seem like kind of a big ask. I'm using the service completely for free, and I'm demanding customer service as soon as anything goes wrong. Once you're paying money, if they won't give you like access to somebody who's going to tell you why your Instagram got deleted, that seems insane. So,
Yeah.
I mean, it's basically going to create like a fucking caste system where people who pay are going to be able to get
yeah, I mean,
the,
well, it makes
the
no sense for
basic
me.
access to customer support.
We're all rich here. We're all good with that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
all
We're ready for the
we're
cast.
rolling.
We're
it.
ready for Twitter apartheid.
I like that
The-
you can boost your dick pics. That's one of their selling features, that it moves yours to the front of the line if you pay. Did you see that one?
with the dick pic.
They didn't say dick pic
Oh, okay.
explicitly, but it's obviously
The
implied. Why
omni-liberal
else
is not using Twitter Blue. Explain yourself.
Well, I wasn't sure if my account would get rebanned.
You think it might?
Well, no,
Who
because now I'm a
unbanned you?
boring fucking I got in contact with the top, not the Elon guy, but someone else.
Or you
Yeah.
talk to somebody within
Yeah.
the organization.
I had a guy. There's a little bit of an aside, but I basically have a guy who messages me. I have a really hard time asking for favors in my personal life. That's just very hard for me to do it. I don't know why. I'm an asshole normally to everybody online, but personally, I have a really hard time asking for things. So this guy, he messages me. He's like, "Listen, I think I can get your account back." It's like, okay, well, tell me how. So he goes through a whole bunch of shit. And he gets me connected with the head of Twitter's trust and safety. And so I shoot her an email. I'm like, hey, like, this is my account. Like, do you think I can do anything? Blah, blah, blah. And she's like, oh, well, actually, telling people to kill yourselves is like an insta-bannable offense. You've done that about 12,000 times in your account. And I was like, okay, well, I didn't even get a warning for that. I didn't know. And she's like, normally we'll give somebody a second chance, but I see that you've had 7 different accounts here that have been permabanned. And I was like, oh, okay. Well, I'm sorry for wasting your time. Thanks a lot, was my response. And the guy's like,
Kill
"No, no, no."
yourself.
I left it in a good note. But then the guy messaged me. He's like, no. You need to ask harder. You need to keep pushing. And I'm like, okay, well, I kind of feel like a dick doing it. She seems like she's not. He's like, no, trust me. Send one more email and push hard. I'm like, okay. So I sent emails like, I could be an asset to your platform. I'll make a good faith effort to reform, blah, blah. And she's like, oh, okay, here's your account back. And I'm like,
Yeah. Our entire culture has become this endless merry-go-round of like getting banned and crying about it. Like all of our art of our generation has been totally fucking wiped out and replaced with this repetitive kvetching about like, well, I was banned. This is how I was banned. This is how
Yeah.
it's so aggravating to me.
or it's like when comedians come on and do like, I don't want to hear another skit about like cancel culture. or
Yeah.
shit. Like I like it sucks. I agree, but like I'm over it.
It
you
sucks
know?
that
Yeah.
the people want to call to my show are like, oh yeah, I just got canceled. I'm like, do you have anything else? Like
Yeah.
something that you ate, a big shit that you took or something?
It's almost surreal for me at this point when I'm watching a random Rogan episode and he goes into the same like cancel culture is bad conversation that I've heard him had like hundreds of times. And I'm just like, how the fuck are you having this conversation again without, just sort of noticing that you've done this so many times?
Yeah, I don't know.
And then someone like Dilbert comes along and tries to break the mold, and everyone freaks out.
You probably think that guy's a real truth teller, huh?
No.
No, I think I was the one that broke that he was going off of a survey that had 130 black people in it.
It was 130 people.
Yes, because it said 1,000, but it was. But
It wasn't 1,000 black people.
But I
it was
know my
1,000 people
FBI crime
total.
statistics, so I know that's only 13%.
All right. I'm not gonna get into that on this show.
Well, no, but okay. But do you believe that on average 50% of black Americans would agree that it's not okay? It's okay to be white is a hateful
I
statement.
don't even know what that means.
Was
What-
that, was,
is it okay to be white? I don't know.
I feel like it's okay to be white. I think we should
Okay.
be able to give that up.
I
right?
think it's more than okay. I think it's pretty good.
It's just fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, like you're a person too, Vito.
Thank you.
I'm
I
just gonna give you
appreciate
that.
Here, this
He's
is the
Italian, though.
Person.
This
Yeah,
is
I
the
am.
issue.
I am a
That's
filthy
Not
wop.
not white, but still a person.
Thank you.
A little less of
Well,
a person, but
She's a woman.
Yeah.
And I'm just struggling with that. Yeah.
Okay. The issue is that trolls will take a statement that on its face is not offensive, but it's kind of needling you in a little bit of a way.
Mm.
Like, but the problem is that people on the left, what should happen is you get an annoying, like a 4-foot fucking goblin can be like, it's okay to be white. And the response is, yeah. And then you walk away.
exactly.
But the problem is they somehow bait these progressives into arguing against the stupidest fucking shit. Where someone comes like, it's okay to be white. And it's like, well, actually, systemically, structurally, if you really think about it, like whiteness is actually post-colonialist influence on, and it's actually not okay to be white. And white is an inclusive thing that doesn't. And it's like, bro, just shut the fuck up. Why the fuck are you arguing? Because the problem is that like this is like hyper niche, like very fringe political discourse, and then everybody in the center looks at you, and you got like some normal dude who's like, well, I think it's okay to be white. That's kind of weird that you'd argue against that, and then you look fucking insane arguing against it. Like the right
This
is
is
so
what
good at
jokes
like.
were funny was.
Yeah,
Like, this is
yeah.
what
That's
we
what we
did.
did,
We're
yeah.
like, we need to make a sign that's got nothing. Like at first we were thinking like, okay, what if we're like here to support a black comedian? Like, nah, that's putting too much onto it. It's just jokes are funny. If you disagree with that and that's upsetting to you, that is something fucked with you, and everyone will see that because everyone's gonna see that and say, why are the people smashing the jokes are
yeah,
funny?
I had a sign that
signs?
the jokes are funny. The dude ripped it out of my hands and broke it into a million pieces. And, you're
And
like,
it was done on
That's
purpose
hilarious.
to wind them up.
Yeah.
But then to be fair to the flip side, the only hard thing is that sometimes people will come in masquerading with those messages, but there's really like something else. Like it'll be like a guy saying like numbers don't lie, and it's like okay, I guess that's true. And then it's like, no, I'm going to tell you the percentage of Jews that own all the media in the country, and the percentage of black
Chill.
people that are violent, the percentage of black. Yeah, and it's
But
like,
you're
well,
right. You got to ignore that guy, and you got to go. Well, I still can't disagree with the core message that it's
Sure,
okay
yeah.
to be
Can
white.
you watch a Dave Chappelle comedy special and actually laugh at his trans material when it's basically like something that you might have laughed at like 10 years ago? Like it's just so fucking far behind in terms of like the discourse about trans people that we've probably all been exposed to.
Yeah, I mean it's not.
You got to put on your normie hat for a bit and just kind of like pretend.
It's
problem
like
is
a
that,
time
like-
machine.
Yeah,
But he
true.
tells it so good. I'm like, fuck it. I'm in the 90s again.
Yeah.
This is great. Give me some weed and some cereal.
I mean, what's that like? Like, do you genuinely think Dave Chappelle's specials are funny, or do you find it kind of cringe?
I think they're a mix.
Dave Chappelle is my favorite comedian. Okay,
Aw.
I like the Chappelle season 1 and 2. Okay,
Oh yeah.
he's on a journey right now, and I look forward to seeing where he ends up.
So you don't like his trans stuff or stance on it?
It's like it's okay, but again, it comes off. It's like that. It's like hearing a comedian do another 5-minute bit on like cancel culture, and it's like okay, I
Yeah.
get that. Yeah, but then like I mean, like you said, especially like online, like we've advanced the discourse like so far. Like I could be talking to a normie, and it's like I really don't know how I feel about puberty blockers for 14-year-olds, and they'll be like, "Are you talking about transvestites?" Like they have no fucking idea, like because the online shit has moved so far out there
Yeah.
compared to where like most human beings are at in the real world. So it's hard.
I didn't even consider your trans beliefs. I don't know. I never heard you talk about it before.
They're pretty out there.
Are they? Like trans women are women? Is that
Well, I can say that you can never admit that.
that trans women are women?
Yeah, because if you
Vito's a
did,
woman.
if you admitted that, you would have had to say you gotten beaten up by a girl at your protest. So
No, it was a guy. Well, I don't know. I don't want to. I
We
mean, he
can't
was a
assume gender.
bodybuilder.
Sure, yeah.
But in that
even
environment,
that joke is
you,
cringe.
You kind of got to get beat up in that environment, right? Like you're gonna look at the bad guy, and just
mean-
start slugging it out with these people, right?
my arms. I was holding my sign, and this woman had gotten in between my arms. It's like, well, this is
She was playing like Ring Around the Rosie, like forced her way under his hands.
this is bad. And then a guy said he's strangling
He's
her.
strangling
and she said
that
he's
woman.
strangling me. He's strangling me. And I'm like, all right, well.
The
this is gonna
Antifa
go.
News, there was an Antifa news site that reported Dick Masterson was strangling people at the protest.
I believe
Yeah.
him.
Yeah.
I bet she got in there,
I
and I bet he
wish.
was like, you know what?
I'm gonna go track her down.
We got video. He
Double
question
it's
is,
clean.
as well as I know Dick, could you really handle somebody that fucking annoying? It would be so easy to strangle right in front of you. I don't know if you can handle that.
I
for
think he
more
was
than,
handling it
I don't think you can handle that for
masterfully.
more than 5 or 10 seconds without squeezing a little bit. You
It's
know?
just a woman screaming, you know.
You've experienced
Bop,
that
bop, bop,
before.
bop. Yeah, I've
Every
experienced
day
that
in your
a
life.
lot.
If you were to like bait somebody into a jiu-jitsu match at a protest, I feel like that could be really viral.
You can't get violent though, because then they win.
But that's
I
the
literally
thing.
can't because I'm made of glass.
But jiu-jitsu
I
is such
lost a fight with
subtle
a bowling
violence, you know?
ball.
Like, if
Yeah.
you make a protester tap out, that could be some pretty good content.
You should go. You should get like black, or do they have belts in jujitsu?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, get a black belt jujitsu guy to go troll protesters and jujitsu them.
I want an Aikido master, so they run at him and he just gracefully steps aside and
Oh, yeah.
flips them over. Yeah.
That'd be amazing. As long as we're
Steven
talking about
Seagal.
things that are played out and we're annoyed of hearing people talk about. No offense to present company or anything, but I
Uh-oh.
just really can't handle hearing people talk about dating on podcasts and shit. Like, respect to all of our friends who are making a living doing it, but it's just really hard for me to sit through a lot of this shit. I don't know if I'm
The dating talk.
The
yeah,
red
and
pill
like,
shit.
should a guy pay for the tip, or should a guy pay for the bill when you go out to eat, and should a guy hold the door open? It's just
dating
like,
etiquette.
holy fuck, this is so boring.
My
and
fans are like-
everybody loves it.
My fans are fucking revolting. If you go to my subreddit, there was like, no more red pill content. Fuck this shit. We hate it. But it's like, yeah, like Prince Money. There are so many people online.
Is
You've
it?
built like a whole TikTok basically off it, right? Yeah. And it's like you said. It's like always like, okay, we're all sitting down now. Does body count matter? And it's like, should men pay for everything if women are earning more in college?
Right.
And it's like, oh,
Like,
hold on.
at
Let me
some
think about
point-
the last like 785 times I've answered
At
the
some
same
point,
question,
the
yeah.
body count question, like for how much it has been discussed on podcasts for the past couple of years, at some point a conclusion is going to have
Yeah,
to be
will it?
reached.
Yeah, does
And
it
they're gonna
matter?
have to
The
stop
greatest
talking
red
about
pill
it.
philosophers of our time have debated this across 750 million different YouTube channels. Can
It's
you tell
AIDS.
us?
Yeah, what progress has been made?
Yeah.
I love how everyone's sample size and the dating advice comes from like a sample size smaller than Dilbert's survey. It's like, oh, okay, this is what you do. And I'm like, you're talking about like 20 girls, 30, like 40.
Right.
What is this?
Yeah,
And it was
I
all in one
especially-
area.
I love hearing people talk about relationships really authoritatively who are like 21. And I'm just
Yeah.
like, wow. Like, you really have no fucking room to comment on any of this until you've really even like 100 sex partners, I'm going to say, or like, multiple like long-term relationships.
Oh, yeah, 100, Adam. Thanks. True.
I mean,
yeah.
maybe
What have you
not
learned?
100, but like
was the 100th
90.
one like
90.
Yeah, yeah,
total
yeah.
enlightenment?
It
I
was-
remember back when I was a
liked watching
kid-
the clock roll over to 100.
Back when I only fucked 95 girls and I had no idea what was
You had
going
no
on.
idea what
but,
you're
like,
doing.
Yeah, I was just, but at 100.
Lost
yeah.
in the woods. Then you hit 100. And
It
you're
really
like,
started to click for me around 100.
master.
Yeah.
I could feel it coming in the emails now. Like I know this, it'll be something about girls. And I'm like, I know this is just a bragging about how happy he is with his girlfriend, but guys don't know how to express this emotion, so they have to wrap it in like some kind of advice or criticism. So I'm gonna just take this and put this on the fridge and say, good job.
So what, you just
nailed
give
it.
out your email and just give advice to these poor bastards?
Yeah, I try to make it as bad as possible, because nobody wants the just break up with her. Like, this is an abusive relationship. What are you doing? They
That's a
want-
good idea. I could see myself getting a couple extra hours of content out per week just off
Answering
answering some
emails.
fucking
advice columnist. Yeah,
emails. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
a
that would be good.
a
Yeah,
classic
but even
one.
like the dating advice shit is like 85% of it, like some guy would be like, I was with my girlfriend yesterday and she made some weird movements in bed and she clenched up and I don't know if she came or not. Can you tell me? And it's like, why don't you fucking ask her, you fucking retard. 95% of questions like, ask your fucking partner. How the fuck are we supposed to divine this information from you? Like, my boyfriend didn't talk to me at all yesterday and I'm not sure what's upsetting him at the moment. Like, can you give me some advice? It was like, fucking ask.
No,
That's why you have to lie to them
Yeah.
because it's funny.
Or it'll
you
be
go, no,
like-
he's really pissed
Yeah.
at you, and you should
Yeah.
bake him a cake.
Or
you
it'll
dumb
be-
bitch.
catfish him.
True.
Yeah.
No offense, but I understand what you say. There's a lot of times where where like a 22-year-old is speaking, and it's like you're speaking as a 22-year-old, clearly.
Right.
People that have like significant issues, like, so we fight all the time, we blah 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 blah, and it's like, okay, well, how long you been dating? It's like, oh, about 4 weeks, and it's like, or have you seen the ones? And I wish these girls posted pictures. That's really mean, but I wish I could see pictures of some of these girls where she'll post like, so I have a problem. My boyfriend, he comes to sleep and everything is okay, but he has a lot of trouble wiping, and sometimes he leaves shit all over the bed.
What the fuck?
Why are you still with this guy?
You've seen that multiple times? Someone post that?
On there's subreddits where people ask these relationship questions, and I'm like,
But I'm always stuck between
Jesus
thinking
Christ.
this question is so stupid that I cannot waste even a single second thinking about it, or it's a troll. And you're just saying something.
No, you got to treat it 100% serious.
Even if it seems a little subtle in its stupidity, that like, oh, you calibrated that perfectly because you're trying to get me to actually take this serious.
Yeah.
And like when everything falls into either bucket, that's not a good place to be in.
yeah, but if you know enough people though, where if you heard their stories at random, you would assume this person is full of shit. There's no way somebody can be this fucking stupid.
And when I think about it, my early 20s brain was so much more entertained by conversations about, all the nuances of relationships. So I totally understand why that shit hits for that audience. And I've often thought like, damn, 18-year-old me probably would have been a little too impressed with Andrew Tate.
75 girlfriends, and they're all working for him.
Oh my God.
And they don't even want to keep the money. This guy's got it figured out.
He can buy as many Fortnite skins as he wants.
True.
And
He probably gets the $100 cards when he goes to Walmart.
Dude. Yeah, dude. He's living the life.
That's why he's so bald. He's seen his hair growing out outside of prison. Like, oh, that's what 75 girlfriends does to you, man. That's not worth it.
Yeah. Man, but
as a young person, your perception is very skewed.
Okay,
of
I was
what
with
good masculinity looks like.
I was with Donald Cerrone of the formerly of the UFC or presently of the UFC. I can't remember, but either way, we're sitting there and we were talking about Andrew Tate when I was on some Brendan Schaub program that I went on, and he pulled up one of Andrew Tate's kickboxing matches and was basically just like, "Look at this technique. Tell me this guy is a top level fighter." And it looked really bad, like with his narration, which obviously I'm not a fucking expert, but that kind of colored my impression of him. And then I also read like a fucking article where a journalist went to his house and he described it as kind of a shithole in a bad part of town. And that also kind of made me like, well, if you're so rich off this Hustles University thing, why aren't you living in like a baller ass pad?
Damn.
I don't know.
Have you ever had Tate on the show?
No.
Because you've had Tate on back in the day.
Yeah, I kind of think I
You
started
kinda
him
started-
twice.
You were the
I
one.
think the entire blueprint for. Did you know I wrote Men Are Better Than Women, the book, and was on Dr. Phil?
I saw the Dr. Phil thing, and honestly, I wasn't sure if it was the same person because time hasn't really been that kind to you. But
Jesus Christ.
The time's been great. The liquor has been bad.
just kidding.
It's the liquor and the
but
drugs that are hard.
I was looking at like that. It kind of looks like him, but I can't really. I was thinking like maybe you borrowed the name from him. But what the fuck is the story on that? Can we kill a few minutes on that
So
story?
Dr. Phil?
Yeah, I started writing this site, menarbetterthanwomen.com, as a joke. I mean, well, not completely, whatever.
What year? Because I guess I do kind of like vaguely remember.
2005, back
Okay.
when there was no Facebook. There was
Oh,
nothing. You had to go out of your way to find content on the internet.
He
People
went to
actually
people's
went to
websites. That was
websites.
like Maddox.xmission.com. I remember
Oh,
trying to
that
think of
guy.
the website and shit.
Well,
Yeah.
I spent a little time watching Justin Wang videos about his fallout with Maddox too, which I'm not really sure how that is going to actually matter throughout this conversation. But
That would
Wow,
take
let's see.
hours.
That was Web 1. So I started writing these just preposterous articles trying to push the line of what people would believe and throwing in some real shit, throwing in some like overt misogynism and then just like insanity. So to try to just make like the perfect trolling articles every time. And
it
some of
kind of
those
sounds like Andrew Tate, yeah.
Yeah, some of those would get hundreds of thousands of comments. Then I went on Dr. Phil because they had a house full of insane people who were all bigoted and hateful, and they gave us a bunch of liquor and tried to make us fight. But I think I was the only one joking.
But did you ever let that on to the producers at all, or were you fully just in character the whole time?
Fully in character because it wouldn't be funny, and I fucking hated Dr. Phil. Dude, like the whole pop psychology shit that is now. It's pop psychology is so pervasive that like you can talk to people and have entire conversations that they've just regurgitated out of a self-help manual.
Right.
I hated it then. I hate it now. I wasn't pointing at you to
No, that's
say
okay.
that. I was just
Give me
looking
the-
at you.
My blue hair will be the conduit for your hit right now. It's okay. Channel it. Focus. Yeah.
Yeah, so I went on there and just called women
around,
fat.
yeah,
and,
called women
and
whores
everyone
and-
melted down.
What were you doing for a living at that time?
I was doing computer stuff.
Okay.
Yeah. marketing.
There wasn't like a concern in your mind, like maybe this could come back to get me, and people wouldn't understand that I was trolling, and it's gonna make me. People are gonna think that I really.
I was
am this
25,
person.
People
so
didn't
I
really
wasn't
get-
really thinking about things like
Yeah.
that. I was thinking everyone's going to think this is hilarious. What am I
And I
not
don't think-
realizing that Dr. Phil has 60 million fans? Like they didn't think it was funny. They didn't get the satire of it. How
Right.
fucking sophisticated I was.
Nobody really got canceled back in 2005.
I was
either,
gonna
did
say,
they?
It was
like,
very
different
difficult to
era.
get canceled back then.
The worst
No.
thing back then was if you ever like took like in 2007, 2008, especially with iPhone shit, if you took a nude picture of yourself, that was like the craziest thing.
Oh yeah.
Taking nudes. Oh my god, it was like unfathomable.
One of the best days in high school was when this girl Crystal fucking there was a picture of her that had been floating around email wise in my high school of her shoving a 7-Up bottle up her vagina, and somebody printed out a few of them and taped them to like the soda machine in school. And so that was the talk of the town for the rest of the week in
7
my
Up.
high school, is this girl with a 7-Up bottle up her coochie. It was fucking crazy, dude.
What size bottle?
It was pretty fucking huge.
Wait, was it
honestly.
like? Are we talking like the cap part,
20,
or like the
20
whole
ounce,
like?
or like
It's
a
not like she
2
got the
liter?
whole thing, but it was like a big one that she didn't.
2
I
liter.
think get to like the straight part of the
Oh,
bottle.
yeah.
Yeah, but it was the thought that
triangle.
counted. Yeah,
But
And-
she was in high school too. So.
and also it's like nobody had a digital camera at
Yeah.
this time, so
Taking pictures and talking on the internet was hard.
yeah, and so like to get like a single photo of this and then to have it like scanned and like printed out, it seemed like a crazy
It was.
effort.
Printing out full color shit back then too was like shoot.
Yeah.
The printer would take
And if
like
the librarian
7
caught
minutes.
you, you got in big trouble. She's like, "Why are you printing all this out?" And I'm like, "I don't
How
know."
would you print that in the fucking library, Vito?
Not just vaginas. Although I do remember in middle school, I was printing out like Japanese porno comics when nobody was paying attention and binding them together and
Jesus.
making a little collection.
Binding them. You can't beat off until you bind
No,
them.
I would
together?
take construction paper and I'd make little, covers and had a little collection going.
Wow.
Yeah, I remember for a while
The
there
Japanese
was
did
a
good
message
work.
board in high school, and we would all like steal people's IDs and then like upload them to threads on the message board, and the school shut that down pretty
Wait,
quick.
when the fuck did you go to high school?
I graduated in 2002.
I graduated in 2007. I feel like you had so much more internet in your school than I did. I feel like the internet didn't exist in Omaha yet. Where did you? You were in New
I
Hampshire?
had a live journal when I was 15, and that's when it really began. And actually, even before
Wow.
that, I was on like punk message boards.
I
and
missed
shit.
the live journal era.
You were on there?
That was real.
yeah,
There
it
was
was
some
fun.
good live journaling.
Back
Yeah.
when we changed the mouse to be like a fucking design, and you'd have like fucking
Mm-hmm.
music
That's
that
where
would load on web pages and
All
shit.
of my like high school drama played out on live journal for the most part.
Damn.
It's good times.
Sounds great.
Wait, so when did you decide to just like fully inhabit the Dick Masterson name, and also like what were the consequences of the Dr. Phil thing?
God, I don't remember. It was pretty traumatizing coming out of that house. It was a lot more intense than I thought it was going to be, being a character for 7 days straight and like getting interviewed by crazy producers.
It
who
was
were
just
trying
hard to
fuck
stay in
you up.
character.
Well, they're like they wake you up at 5. They make you fight people all day. Now, probably being on Twitter all the time, it wouldn't be such a big deal. But back then, this kind of atmosphere
You were
was
still
not-
more of like an actual human being at the time.
yeah.
We all
So
were.
Back
Coming
when
out of it-
niceties and politeness existed. Yeah. none of
I
that.
got a little. I was like, well, I mean, that's kind of the peak of that bit, so that's enough.
You
I
really
think-
kind of left it behind. I feel like these days you got to just like lean into it. And just
Well, we didn't have.
create
God,
a course.
that was like 2008. So my book came out the day it came out, and then 4chan got hold of it and put it to like 200th in the world or something like that on Amazon. That's how I learned about 4chan. So I don't know. After that, back in 2008, I just let it die until I did the podcast with Maddox again.
And
Justin
that
Wang
went
coming.
swimmingly.
Yeah.
How many?
And
Wait,
I had to embrace it or die.
wait, but how many years did you do that before you guys fell out?
2.
And then the Dick Show has been going for how many years?
Probably 7 or 8.
How's that
after
going?
that. It's going good. It's going well. Made a lot of friends. Heard a lot of stories about people getting canceled.
Why are you debanked?
So I made a Patreon alternative.
Right.
Remember when Sargon
Yeah.
he got kicked off because he said slur ironically?
Some
something
racist
like-
joke on another platform. Which
Yeah.
I remember being particularly pissed off about that at the time because it wasn't even something he did on Patreon.
Yeah, me too. So I said, well, how hard could this be to just make a web host and take credit cards? Like, this is not complicated. These guys have way too much power. No one should be involved in the relationship between a fan supporter and whoever they're supporting, no matter what they say.
Right.
Like freedom of speech is important. Freedom of economy is even more important than that. That's like you. That's who you are. So I made this Patreon alternative in like a month, got people on it, and it was just a lot harder than I thought it would be. Every bank, every major bank in America canceled all of my business accounts one by one, no matter what they would say or look at. They've got it's a blacker black hole than YouTube getting
Wh-
through to them.
But was it like like anyone in particular that you were working with that that was using your service that was like particularly like an enemy of the banks?
I don't know. I think eventually somebody who hated kiwi farms pretended to be a lawyer and contacted a senior vice president at MasterCard and said there's all this crime and stuff happening. And MasterCard contacted this tiny bank that was hosting me.
Because Kiwi Farms was one of the people who were funded through you.
Yeah, they were using it. And then the little bank put me on the match list, which is like you can never do credit cards again for the rest of your life, basically.
So what is your credit score like? Can you even have credit?
Yeah, I just can't process cards, so I can't start a business
Right.
and process credit cards.
So even if you started a business, you just being one of the owners of the LLC, you wouldn't be able to process credit cards through it?
I don't know. It all goes back to how many people are you going to report are going to report you.
Right.
Like that's what everything relies on.
Are you that much of an enemy to these people?
I hope so.
Good answer.
I don't think so though.
Right.
But I've never thought that. Like the way that things have devolved has shocked me over the last 20 years. To going from like just comedy to just doing comedy to like becoming a major force in stopping this insane tyrannical mob from dominating everything that we see in life on entertainment and television. Television has become so important. The internet has become so important that the quest to control that as a choke point has become an existential crisis to people like us. So
I used to say like Twitter's like people say like, I used to say this like Twitter's not real life, and it's not. That's true. Now it's more important than real life. I'm in control of like Twitter and Facebook, like that. It dictates entire news cycles. It arguably instigates real life stuff. Like BLM probably doesn't happen without videos on
it's
like
it's worth
TikTok and
$44 billion.
YouTube,
Like it is the most.
not more than that, right? Really, truly,
Right, but,
yeah,
you know,
I know
it's
Elon,
like,
but
yeah.
it's like so the control on the internet stuff is insane. And I made this joke I think like 3 or 4 years ago. I keep making it. But I feel like it's going to happen pretty soon, where we're going to cancel people so hard. We're going to be calling like leasing agencies to find out like who's renting apartments to who. And it's like, didn't you know Dick made that comment about Nazis? Are you really going to rent? Are you going to service his mortgage?
Yeah.
Are you really going to rent an apartment to him?
I would almost assume that they are doing that because didn't Richard Spencer's mother get like run out of town wherever she was living at?
Maybe, or
Lawrence Southern's
parents got
parents.
kicked off Airbnb. Like 70, 60-year-old people. Yeah, it's insane. Yeah.
But okay, what's the line in the sand, or what's the X factor that separates something that we could kind of agree on, which is that
It's-
Twitter and publishers should probably have the freedom to allow whoever they want on their platform, versus what's happening to him with the banks, which is like, it seems like an extension of the same argument,
I think
right?
there's an easy thing that we should all agree on, and you should. And if you don't agree on this, fuck you, okay? If you fuck around on a platform, then you can get banned on the platform, and that's it.
Right.
This cross-platform shit is fucking crazy to me. That like, if I do something really bad on Facebook, I'm gonna get banned on Twitter and YouTube and Twitch and whatever the fuck else somebody goes
Yeah.
after. Like, if you fuck around on Facebook and you do some shit, you get banned on Facebook. If you fuck around in a bank, you get banned in a bank. But when it's like the whole world is coming down on you for a mistake that you make somewhere, I think
Yeah.
that's bullshit. That's crazy to me.
I think we have to get the courts back to being involved. Like if something happens to you at McDonald's, they dump hot coffee on you and like cause you insane damage. You take them to court, no matter what happens. Like somebody doesn't shoe your horse right, you take them to court and you go through a discovery process and you find out who is wrong there, who's owed, who was harmed. Like the American court system was made to figure out who was harmed and how to compensate for them for that. And because of the laws we passed on the internet, CDA 230, there's no court involved anymore. It's just a mob. It's convincing an invisible person if somebody else should be hurt before you even assess the damages. So
I think-
whatever we do to get people back in court to assess this stuff, I think is important.
I don't think the answer is the court, though. And this sucks, but I think the answer is the culture. It has to be because the courts will follow the culture. If the culture dictates that we need to be killing people on the internet, metaphorically, destroying somebody's name or brand, then I think the laws will get passed to do it, which is the scary part. That we have to get people to understand that people can make mistakes and grow and learn, and that there's not always a binary. I don't know if you've realized this. Nobody is a little bit wrong or a little bit right. They're either like so fucking wrong that they need to be, eradicated from existence, or like they're 100% correct on everything. Like, it's insane. Like, somebody can't make a statement that's like a little bit wrong without people like, oh, this guy's a racist, a transphobe, this guy is a fascist, this guy's whatever. It's like there's no middle ground, and it's fucking crazy.
When you if I'm assuming all the banks at some point, like the Daily Stormer, probably had checking accounts with some bank at some point, and I assume pulled out and stopped working with them. But the problem is that what he was trying to create was a lot more innocuous, right? But it's being conflated with stuff that's specifically hateful. Or would you say that there should be banks, or should banks be,
Banks should
formally-
absolutely be blind. It's a payment processor. You're processing people's.
So if you're a bank and you know that you have neo-Nazis running businesses doing neo-Nazi
Who cares?
things,
If you're a bank and the guy is using you to sell fucking child porn, you should fucking process the payments.
but that's illegal.
Doesn't matter. It's
That's
not
for the
your job
court.
to. It's not your job to enforce it, though, right? Like, you're coming from porn. How do you feel about the fact that like so much porn regulation was essentially built off the backs of like fucking Visa and payment processors, like enforcing rules and shit?
I do think that's crazy because on OnlyFans, you're not allowed to do shit stuff. You're not allowed to fuck. I think a woman's not allowed to penetrate herself with something that's not a sex toy. So, like, if you're fucking a cucumber, I think that could be a problem. Some of it I totally agree with too. Like the outdoor stuff is not allowed on there, which like in public, which I think is a really good
It's not.
precedent to
Are you
set.
allowed to choke women on OnlyFans?
I'm not 100% sure, but also the reality
that's a
is
problem,
that
if not.
more often than not, you are allowed to do all of these things. You just can't label or tag the post as that.
Yeah.
And if a bunch of people decide to report you,
You get
Yeah.
you could probably get fucked because
Yeah.
I think a ton of girls are skirting the rules because there's just not enough analysis by the company. You know?
The problem isn't the rules. Like, the rules can be that. Like, everything you said is fine. If OnlyFans wants to set those rules, it's okay. It's just scary when it's coming from payment processors. I
Yeah.
don't think they should have any role in dictating that. You just process a payment. Same thing with ISPs, right? Like, if you say something really bad on Twitter, should AT&T be able to cancel your internet account? Like, that's crazy to me. But I
Nah,
think that if
nah.
you were to poll the American people today, I bet like 35 to 40% would agree that an ISP should be able to cancel your internet account.
You
If he
think it
says
would be that high?
I think it would be.
Yeah.
I think it
If you
would be.
change it to COVID, it would be even higher. Like the people were so pissed about medical misinformation.
Well, it's because you're talking about changing the culture, but it seems like, a large part of the culture agrees that they don't like the cancellation. They don't like what's going on. And that
No,
it's more
bullshit.
focused in these like kind of narrow trust and safety teams and whatever else. I do agree there's a lot of hypocrisy.
Yeah, no. The
absolutely.
problem is that the where we're at, and if we've learned anything over the past 5 fucking years, it should be this: is nobody has a principal position on fucking anything.
Yes.
it's whenever it benefits their fucking guy.
Absolutely.
Full stop. I have never seen. We joked about it. I don't know if it was on the podcast or not. I've never seen so many conservatives care about environmentalism until this fucking East Ohio shit happens.
Well, yeah, every time they see Satan in like the Super Bowl, like a fat guy in a red hat, and
yeah, right. Everything is satanic.
right,
now,
it's
yeah.
like, well, we got to wipe this filth off. I'm like, oh yeah, I think Trump just made you guys think you're cool for the last couple years, and you're really just tyrants.
They hate
also.
cancel culture unless it's the literal devil. Dick,
Yeah.
isn't that okay?
I'm
Yeah.
listening to this fucking Barry Weiss podcast about J.K. Rowling, and it's fucking hilarious to see how the right used to be obsessed with canceling Harry Potter.
yeah.
because of the witchcraft.
wizard
and
satanic.
whereas now, because of a few vaguely transphobic comments by the author, it's now considered like a big free speech thing.
Yeah.
Everybody turns on a dime. Nobody has any principles.
Yeah.
But I think if people are at the, if they're willing to keep saying, well, I hate cancel culture and I want people to get canceled, like, can't we instill in them, like, okay, but you got to go both ways on it. Like, you got to not want to cancel a guy for wearing devil horns at the fucking Grammys.
Fuck. I just realized that we started this podcast complaining about people talking about cancel culture. We've been doing it for like
I
the past
know.
30 minutes, haven't we?
Just realized.
But we're
that.
doing it.
Oh,
We're
God.
doing a real
I
cool
feel like I'm
version.
on
All
mushrooms right now. Oh shit.
We're doing like a cool based version.
Yeah,
of
we're
it,
the
I think.
cool canceled guys.
We're like a cover band, but we're like doing some cool little extra riffs in there and shit.
We got banned from Twitter for saying fucked up shit, man. That's cool.
What did you say?
You told that guy to eat a cinder block.
Yeah.
A
That's
cinder
such a lame
block
thing
or
to
a
get
cinder
banned
black?
for, really?
Yeah, I told Chris Reagan to eat a cinder like 7 years ago.
Oh,
I
yeah.
That got you banned on
that.
Twitter,
Yeah.
but you've returned, right?
Yeah, I got thanks to Elon.
Really?
Uh-huh.
He's who got you back on the platform?
Not him personally.
But
At
you
least
were
I don't
banned-
know.
It was
Maybe
him personally.
It might have been.
I think in my case, he personally intervened. I think he knew.
Yeah, what the fuck? Because I've been following you for a while, and then I didn't realize that you had been deleted until you returned. And
That's
I
the
was just
worst
like,
part.
oh shit, like I haven't seen that fucking little profile picture in a long ass time.
Yeah, you just fall off the face of the earth.
Yeah.
That's the worst thing about Twitter is that like it really is like the congregation point where I have all these contacts and I literally just disappeared and then people go, "Oh, I didn't even notice you were gone."
Right,
Like,
because-
I know it's
we
fucking
felt the same way about
horrifying.
fucking Donald Trump.
Yeah.
When
Yeah.
that motherfucker disappeared off Twitter, I was like, does he even exist anymore? And you're
Is
like,
he
oh
real?
yeah, I
Yeah.
remember that guy.
Was he ever real?
And that was the strongest man in the history of the planet.
Yeah.
Billionaire plus United States president. He's fucking gone.
It's crazy.
Holy
Because
shit.
you have however many like hardcore fans that are gonna follow you between platforms, and that's why when you see something like Fuentes' audience that has managed to keep track of him for all these years, it's kind of incredible. But you know, realistically, like
But
somebody
he has
like,
to devote all his energy to that.
yeah, but somebody
you know?
like me who kind of like just followed you on Twitter one day on a whim and didn't really think that much about it, it's like that.
I'm
Realistically,
gone.
it's tough. Yeah,
Disappeared.
like,
Yeah.
that follow's probably gone forever.
And
You've had
all the-
Fuentes on, haven't you?
We did.
You did? How did it go?
Felt a little pointless, but it was alright, I guess. Yeah.
was this pre-yay or post-yay?
What, you really think he's gay?
No, yay.
I thought
Oh.
you said gay too.
I absolutely heard gay.
This was actually pre-Ye, and he
Pre-Ye.
was slurping up Kanye. No offense, Fuentes, but he was, you know, doing the whole song and dance of like, I love black music. I like Kanye West, because Kanye was already saying all the Christian shit and he's
Yeah.
the Trump support type shit. So you know, Fuentes is just going up. Like he's so good at dancing around the whole like racism thing and just telling you all these things that kind of throw you off the scent.
Sometimes he's good at dancing around.
He
the
was,
race.
but
Yeah.
I will say it's pretty funny that when Kanye came out, he was more extreme than fucking Fuentes was on almost everything. And then I look like an asshole trying to convince my audience, like, well, I don't know if Fuentes does like the full-on Nazi shit anymore. And then here comes
And then
Kanye, like,
Kanye
I
goes,
love Hitler.
I just love this
And I'm
Hitler
like,
guy. And you're like,
Fuck me.
well,
Like, we told you.
Okay, but what
you
was
did kind of take an L on that one.
what was the
didn't you?
point where you stopped being able to be cool with Fuentes, or when did the communication cease?
Because I am a fucking loser who has a principled position on deplatforming. And I think that in almost no circumstances should somebody be deplatformed, save for like imminent threat to like life, right? Somebody's like trying to murder somebody or whatever. And I think that's been my position for roughly the past, like, I want to say 3 or 4 years, 4 or 5 years about. Fuentes, this little group of people, got real mad at another ex-friend of mine who goes by the name Mr. Girl.
Nah,
And yeah, they got him, they spam reported his shit. And I basically told Fuentes, like, listen, we do funny content. Obviously, the streams are amazing, or whatever, but like, you have to like super crack down on this shit. And he was like very tepid. He's like, oh, well, I don't even think we reported him. And like, oh, here's a clip from you in 2017 saying that you're for deplatforming. And I was like, okay, well, fuck you, dude. So I don't want to, I'm like I try to like, there are some cultural values that I feel very strongly about that I enforce like really hardcore. And one of that is that deplatforming shit. If I see people in my community even joke about it, they get fucking banned. Like,
so
we don't do any
you
of that
went
shit.
real hard for Mr. Girl for him to then launch an investigation into you.
Pretty weird, isn't it? I will say, though,
What is the status of the investigation?
the
Did we
status
ever
is,
find
as
out?
of yesterday, he contacted like over 50 fucking women that I fucked and some that I even forgotten I fucked. And he said he doesn't have a single person that wants to come forward with a rape allegation. So I beat the rape charges, okay?
Is he gonna do like a "This Is Your Life" and pussy for us? He's got all
I
this
guess.
information. He
I'm
could at
chatting
least
with a girl
roast you.
on my stream, and she's like, "Oh, I just got a DM from Mr. Girl asking if we're still platonic." Like, you're fucking obsessed. Yeah, it's insane.
Do you think Mr. Girl should have been banned?
No, I don't think so. Absolutely not. I don't think
What's
they
the
did.
worst thing he ever did on the platform? Because I never thought. I mean, I could see how the algorithm probably wouldn't have liked the "I'm a pedophile" song, but you know,
Well, as far as I understand, the reason he got banned was it was a video where he included a scene from a movie where it looks like somebody's sucking cock.
really,
But it was actually, what's the movie where like he has like a chicken wing hanging out of his pants and the girl like
Oh yeah, I don't
eats
remember.
the chicken wing? So it wasn't actually pornographic,
Wow.
but apparently Fuentes people were like, hey, maybe we can get this over on the censors and just mass reported it as pornographic content.
Mhm.
So he got banned because YouTube thought he was posting porn and refuses to look at what the actual clip is and investigate it.
Damn, we need Elon to buy YouTube so we can get Mr. Girl back on the platform.
Or we just need an alternate video platform.
You don't think Rumble's it?
It could be if they,
Rumble
get their
sucks.
shit together.
100 million
Well,
doesn't
that's
go
the
very
problem.
far.
That's
I've
no,
looked at
100
it.
million does not go that
It
far.
looks like the way websites looked like 15 years ago.
That being
It's
said,
really
Rumble,
gross.
we're down for an exclusivity deal anytime. Because I know you've been handing them out.
Yeah,
we
man,
love Rumble.
I'll
we
make
love
some
it.
alt-right content for Rumble.
They don't take alt-right content. They take alt-right content. I'm just
It
kidding.
has to be alt.
It's got to be alt, man.
Yeah,
All
I
they
don't
had to
know.
do was rip off YouTube, and it looks like a disaster. The interface.
It looks like YouTube 20 years ago. It looks
Yeah.
like something other than YouTube.
They're working on it. Okay.
We love you, Rumble. Please give
Can
us
we not do this
millions
thing
of
where we
dollars.
shit on every? Okay, listen. I agree that Rumble looks shitty right now, but competition is good. Okay, so Rumble, keep trying. I hope you guys are watching. I
At
hope
least
the
it's
engineers
not
aren't
Yeah.
getting
fucking
discouraged.
bitch shit.
Because I get fucking annoyed that it's only fucking YouTube and Twitch. Okay, we should be able to walk to another platform if like shit is fucked. But I
I'm
notice
not-
this thing
you're
happens
right,
where
you're
every
right.
time, every time
Yeah.
another platform pumps up, everybody is shitting. I was like, don't you guys want these fucking people to succeed?
Even
like,
though Rumble is pretty pathetic at this current moment, like Steve will do it, having at least some option of a place to post his videos seems like a good thing, especially considering that what he got banned for is like the most egregious witch hunt ass shit imaginable.
I want to go back to a time before the social networks convinced us, like, just put all your stuff on our servers and let's get rid of all the personal websites and whatever else. You don't need that.
Right.
And they tricked us and took complete control. I want to go back to like, I used to go to people's websites. I used to go to your website and Maddox's website and whatever the fuck
Yeah.
else.
Well, that's
And they've
I
destroyed
mean, we
that.
romanticize that though. A lot of them were fucking dog shit. 98% of them were.
Yeah, 98% of them were dog shit, but the 2% that were good were really good.
I am worried about YouTube not thinking Rumble is competition. Like their new guy is an NFT blockchain guy, and I don't know if you're in the crypto space, but there's a concerted effort by big venture capitalists and these gatekeepers that we have right now running finance and running the world to take over Web3 and neuter it before plebs like us can take control and turn it into the Wild West that it should be. Like the SEC is going after it just for fun. There's a war being fought for freedom on Web3, and I think YouTube's gonna. I hope they don't win, but I think they are making some moves to take it over.
I think Meta's gonna win when the Metaverse finally comes to town. I think it's gonna be.
I just want to float around as a little armless guy and go on
Yeah.
VR adventures.
Actually, JK, I think that that's probably the dumbest thing that Facebook has ever invested money into, and I'm trying to figure
Nah,
out
man,
what
you
the
gotta
fuck
believe.
they were
You gotta
thinking.
believe.
Fuck you. Listen, as a huge shareholder right now on Facebook, I hope you guys do what you need to do
Oh,
to make it
no.
work. Okay, really well.
You've been disappointed in their Metaverse efforts?
I don't know. All I know is some shit turned around recently, and that stock is looking hella good compared to where I bought
It's
it. 'Cause I
coming
think
back.
It fell to like, what was it, like fucking $85 a share, and I think they're back up to
More than that,
180
I
now.
thought.
Oh, see,
that's
I'm not
good.
that
Yeah.
invested. I'm not paying attention.
It's at like 300 at one point. It's fell to like 120.
There is like a pot of gold, I think, waiting for anybody that can figure out that
VR?
shit.
Okay, just make good VR porn and everyone will buy a headset. It's the easiest thing in the world. Like you
Yeah, it's
solve
Okay,
too
that
but
hard
for
to
the
do.
other
overnight.
95% of people that don't want to just use it to jerk off,
It
I think
doesn't
they're-
matter.
No, it's
Okay,
not.
why did VHS beat beta? Because porn was more easily accessible on VHS. Why did Blu-ray beat DVD or HD DVD? Because porn was more accessible on Blu-ray.
I don't actually
Porn
believe that. I know that's
dictates-
repeated a lot, but was
It's
it
true.
really DVD sales of pornography that
Yes.
was driving the success of these platforms?
Yes.
I don't believe it.
What are you talking about? Do you know how much a porno DVD used to cost? It was like $80, and these old guys would just walk in and buy $80 porno DVDs. They're psychopaths.
And the
I think Blu-ray won because Sony was able to integrate it on the fucking PS3.
no,
That's
nothing
my
can waste
prediction.
money like your
That's
dick.
For the record, the
your dick will
studios-
waste more money in your life
the
than any other
studios
part
were,
of your body.
were paying the girls like $1,000 back then too.
It was
yeah,
dude
to put out an $80 DVD.
Which is so crazy when
Listening-
you
It's
think about it
beautiful.
now.
to what old porn girls would get. They would film those crazy fucking scenes, and they'd walk away with like a $1,500 check and no rights to anything, no royalties for anything. That was insane.
And that was like the extreme era too. Like one of my favorite porn VHS tapes that I watched back in the day was this Bukkake film called 80 Guy Cum Burrito, where basically
Nice.
it begins showing this Asian woman with gigantic fake breasts, Ava Devine, and it zooms out to show that there are 80 men in the room, and she goes on to like hold a tortilla under her face, and then 80 different dudes jerk off onto her face. It falls onto the tortilla, and then she attempts to like
Roll a tortilla,
fold
roll a
yeah,
burrito?
but it's liquid. Like this is you're just watching her try to complete this like
What happened to that
impossible
kind of
task.
showmanship in
And,
porn?
and I remember like Googling that at one point and realizing that there were some other similar titles at the time.
Yeah.
Like there was a one where they actually like a bunch of guys beat off into a pan that the woman was holding, and then she cooked it like eggs and
Yeah.
ate it. And I remember her
protein
I
strands.
remember her like choking and gagging
On cum eggs?
while it was happening, which to her credit, Ava Devine, when she was eating the cum burrito, she was acting like she loved it.
Really?
Yeah.
Well,
I think I would hate. I think if I was one of the older porn stars, I think I would hate new OnlyFans girls.
Oh yeah, and even
I
the
would be
like
so jealous.
even
I
the
would
Mia
kill myself. It'd
Khalifas
be
and the
over.
Lana Rhodes like hate the current generation because they were drinking bowls of piss and whatnot. Well, Lana was not. Mia
Yeah.
They're like,
Khalifa,
I
but
got 6 tennis balls shoved up my pussy.
for $1,200.
Yeah,
on a
$1,200
Monday
and some
afternoon.
Arby coupons.
Yeah.
I was
Is there
on
some
set
kind of
for 14
outreach
hours.
for the old porn stars? Because I feel like I owe like Lethal Weapons, some back rent for if she
Yeah.
had an OnlyFans or
I don't know. Maybe she does have
Wendy
OnlyFans.
Whoppers.
That'd be a nice way for you to give back. You could probably get like a much more personal relationship. You could be FaceTiming her and shit. These
Yeah,
days.
I don't have time for that. Probably
Her rate has probably dropped a bit over the years.
Probably a pretty cheap date, I would say.
Dude, that'd be sick though if you like started just fucking like going on escort sites and fucking the porn stars that you liked back in the day. Because I bet a lot of them are.
And how about we take the VR technology and we can take these aging porn stars and de-age them into virtual bodies,
Jesus.
and then they could live forever in the cloud.
I love it. I think you're right, Destiny. I think you're an idiot downplaying the porn
VR
part of
shit?
VR. Yeah.
If there was good, I don't have a VR headset, and I'm like the nerdiest video game moron. Because I'm just like, well, what's the point if I can't fuck like a robot?
I don't know if I've not to flex. I don't know if I've fucked too many girls, but I just feel like seeing a girl in VR and feeling my hand. There's going to be a big disconnect there.
Well, there will be
There's
going to be an interactive doll as well that you purchase.
Why do I need the
and-
fucking doll if I have the VR? I'm just saying that if I'm VRing a
See, it's
girl
something to grab.
and she's giving me a blowjob and I feel my fucking hand, I know the difference between my hand and a person's fucking
There
mouth.
will be the PlayStation blowjob robot, okay, and you just press
Okay,
X
listen.
and it vibrates.
Okay, well now if you're talking about a VR headset and a blowjob
An
robot,
interactive blowjob
I think that
robot.
you're upplaying the VR headset and downplaying
No,
the blowjob
both
robot. I
parts
think
are-
the blowjob robot.
Blowjob robot
is
without
big
the
part of-
VR is not it's not
I
nearly the
totally
same
disagree.
experience. You need both.
Don't they sell those auto blows for like fucking house down payments or something?
Yeah, and they don't have a VR component, and that's why they also are not a major market.
Have you
need
tried
both.
Have you tried the auto blow?
No.
Have
I've
you
only
tried it?
walked
Yeah, I
around.
have.
Is it
I
any good?
have
Did we
one.
talk about it? Is it any good?
Yeah, it's good. You got to clean it though. That's the hardest.
That's the nice
part.
thing about
I bought one of those
You don't
auto
have to clean it.
strokers. Is
Self-clean.
that what you're talking about? That just goes
it's
up
like
and
the,
down.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got one, but I bought it from like China, and for some reason they thought I wanted like rainbow lights flashing when I was getting it. I'm like, this fucking sucks.
Is a fleshlight like not even
It's-
on the level of what you're talking about? Because my girl has a fleshlight, and I think I used it wrong the one time I tried to fuck it because my dick wouldn't go in, and I'm not sure what I was doing wrong. Or
Yeah, I got one that's like a flashlight, but it like has like an automatic component to it, but it just lit up like a fucking Christmas tree and it moved too fast. And I'm
I think
like,
I need
don't
to,
Is it
like,
like an LGBT one or
Yeah,
something?
I don't know. It was like the Chinese were like, and then would go, "Oh, welcome to Hitachi time," and it would just fucking jump around, and it made a bunch of fucking noises and whistles.
That
and I was
didn't
like,
work for
nothing.
you?
No, it was. I don't know who gets off on that. It basically was screaming at my dick, and laser lights were shooting out of it. I'm like, I'm going back to my hand. This is too
You
much.
didn't watch enough Gundam growing up.
I bought
guess.
yeah, exactly. If I was into Gundam and fucking all the anime shit, but it was too much.
was there a moment in your life where you're like, my hand is just not enough? Like I need more.
I honestly, I love my hand, but then I go online and these guys, they talk about it, they go, oh, it's fantastic. And you know, this little Asian girl, she screams at your dick. And I was like, all right, I'll try it. And it's just too much. I can't do it.
Have you ever tried using like vibrators and shit?
No.
Oh my god.
Vibrate on what?
On your dickhead.
Ugh, no.
Listen.
What about like a vibrating like cock ring?
If you,
you know?
try
No.
one of those things, holy fuck.
What
It
does it
will-
look like?
Just you can use any
It's
fucking
just like a vibrator and I just hold it on my
You
penis.
put it on
head?
your fucking dick and you let it fucking vibrate and shit happens.
Okay, kinky guy. Sorry.
Yeah, okay, Mr. fucking. The first time I was invited to a show of yours, I had to look up like 30 things. So I thought you were inviting me to fuck you. And
You
your
thought I was
girlfriend.
black when you
No,
first
well,
got
yeah, that
invited.
too also. Well, because everyone said Adam does hip hop, so I didn't know you were just the slave owner
Hip hop.
and not the.
Wow.
Listen, I'm here to rep a. Okay.
I like how oh Lord, bleep that. I like how the Starbucks is like indicating all the cucks at the table. Like you guys are abstaining, but we're all. It's kind of like how we're
I have my
symbolizing.
delicious Coca-Cola
A warm
original
Coca-Cola
taste.
in his hoodie pocket.
I got it out of your vending machine.
Really?
I was looking for
Oh,
a coffee
thanks-
or something.
Thank you for the support. That's
I
dope.
needed some caffeine.
Damn.
We were going to institute one of those at our studio.
The
What,
Vending
vending
machine up front. So
I like
anybody-
that.
any guests that come in.
Yeah, I had to give you $3 to appear on your show.
I need
You
to.
should just break it too, so it always like fucks up, and you just collect
Yeah.
all the fucking money.
I need to get like weekly reports of how much people are buying because I feel very disconnected from the vending machine. I have no idea if anybody's actually using it.
You should put an ATM that charges like $10
Yeah.
on a
Oh,
fee
like-
to
like
get
the
money out
casino.
to use on
Have
the
you-
cash
yeah.
only.
You ever done a casino ATM?
I just got back from Vegas.
Strip club ATM,
Yes.
underground poker room ATM. They will decide to charge you whatever the fuck they want.
Jesus.
I got to go do a bunch of chargebacks before I forget. You know what they do too in strip clubs? They will, whatever you're getting, right? they give you the girls' fee, and then they're giving you this like $25 beer fee for your 2-drink minimum. They always come over and interrupt your lap dance like in the middle of the song, so you end up with 2 broken up minute-long segments. Have you noticed that?
They give you your
Is that
drink in the
anybody
middle
else?
of the dance. You're
Yeah,
saying?
just pick whatever drink you want. I don't. Whatever kind of water you want to give me, I don't care. That's not the point of this.
I'm trying to get like a bunch of songs paid for in advance so that I can really get in the zone with her.
Yeah.
And really try to like make her fall in love with me during the course of that lap dance.
Right.
I don't need you coming over here and stiffing me with a bill that's going to distract me from the rest of this dance.
How often are you in the strip club?
Not often enough.
Oh, okay. I know some dudes that's like every weekend for them. And
Oh,
I just find
no.
that so fucking fascinating that they're just wasting their life in there. Yes, I'm talking
Yeah.
about you, Joe Budden. But it's just, I don't know. I just couldn't imagine.
Do you have a secret place? The ones I go to, they got real big over COVID.
Really?
I know they all shut down. Then I went back. I'm like, whoa, this.
Wait, they got like the girls got big, or there's like a lot of clientele in there now?
The girls got big,
Oh,
real big over COVID.
Really?
I don't know if you guys have noticed this trend.
I'm into that. I'm bringing together a couple of thick Antifa BBL chicks for him tomorrow.
Nice.
I
to
think
debate.
just to talk. I feel like
Yeah.
you're definitely gonna bang him though.
I don't think so.
You don't think so?
Why would you just assume that?
I don't know. She told me she watched your interview with me. I feel like that's probably a pretty good start.
Anyway,
What are you going to debate them on?
I have no idea.
Antifa.
I don't know what
Its-
anything
its
is happening.
role in
This is supposed to be
society.
a debate, and we cried about cancel culture for an hour. We did the thing.
We
Are you
should
happy?
debate about something.
I mean,
What
we
do you wanna
tried to debate
about?
Ukraine, didn't really go too far.
Well, are we doing it a super serious fucking?
I know that's pretty heavy shit.
Yeah, Jesus.
Yeah.
Ukraine strong.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I put
I
up
got-
a Ukrainian flag in Dick's studio to show my support.
Yeah.
Hung it upside down because I don't actually.
I'm just acquiesced to it at this point. It's like, well, I kind of missed Afghanistan, but I don't know.
It was
You guys-
fun.
Seemed a little soon to get back into a new 20-year relationship, right?
Mm.
If we're getting married again, I wanted to have a couple years of being single first.
But you get all the videos of Ukrainians dropping little fucking drone bombs on the Russians. You like
God.
that?
I guess
will
that's
say
cool.
the drone shit is fucking crazy with cameras.
Fascinating.
You used to have to spend $1,000 an hour to run a helicopter with like a $20,000 fucking recording rig to get some of these shots, and now you got these assholes with like $150
Dropping soda
drones
bottles with
dropping grenades on fucking Russians. It's got to be like the most
And
gay
yet it's
fucking
still
way
so expensive.
to get killed, like in War II. Like in a video game, it would piss me off to die to that. I couldn't imagine in real life knowing that there's some fucking
Just some little kid
nerdy
dicking
fucking
around.
twink guy on a fucking video game Xbox controller, like killing me and my friends.
And you've
with
got
fucking
the,
grenades.
You've got the training in your mind from growing up with movies that you should grab the grenade and throw it, right? Like that's the fight. You've got to fight that instinct. Go like, no, I should totally just grab it and throw
Off
it.
the
Instead-
ground?
Yeah, is that not? That's my main concern: getting a grenade dropped on me from
That
a
you're gonna
drone.
be trying to be a
That you
hero.
won't have enough time to throw it?
You got to grab it out of the air as it's falling.
I'm gonna
man.
revert to this instinct that I learned from movies of, oh yeah, here you go.
Maybe you
Toss
could
that
do a
back
sort of
over.
like upward kick.
like
type move.
Pele.
I just wonder what those Russians are thinking. They're like, oh my God, I got a great position here in this trench. Gonna take a little nap. Nothing could go wrong. And this kid just flies a little drone and just drops a fucking bomb on his head.
I will say, outside of the fact that we're giving them all of our money, it is kind of cool with the whole Ukraine and Russia thing that it is happening on the other side of the world and we don't really have to deal with it.
Yeah.
Isn't that like all of
That's
our
most
wars?
America.
That's,
Yeah,
well, that's
most
every,
American
that's kind of every
interventions.
single America. That's the nice thing about having all the oceans between us.
Yeah.
We kinda-
Yeah.
We're pretty detached.
That's so we keep it over there, right?
Right. But there's all this fucked up shit going on in Mexico, but like none of us are really worried about it creeping on up to here, right?
Yeah.
Besides the fentanyl and shit, I guess.
That's why whenever they get us, we get so upset. You know, Pearl Harbor, we're like, oh man, you guys came all the way over here.
Yeah.
9/11, we're like, you motherfuckers. This is our like little space.
Yeah.
You're supposed to do that in your sandy hell.
I hate when people act like, oh, like fucking Americans like overreacted about 9/11. Like, no, that is our right
Wait,
to
who the
over.
fuck said that?
I think a lot of people feel like, it's kind of hypocritical for us to have killed like millions of Afghani people.
Okay,
and
hold
then
on.
we're that
Firstly,
concerned
we
about
did not kill
3,000.
millions of Afghani people. Number one. Okay.
we wanted to, but
Maybe.
we held back.
Also, number two, I'm pretty sure that 9/11 was like the biggest terror attack in the world for like 37 different fucking countries. Because I
Right.
think that like the foreign nationals that died in the World Trade Center was like the biggest terrorist attack for like Sweden or whatever.
Hassan said it was good though, right?
He did.
Yeah.
9/11 was good.
Yeah.
Yeah,
think
Hassan
so?
loves it.
I hate that you can be edgy if you're a progressive. You can make like the edgiest jokes you want about
Yeah.
killing white people or men or whatever.
But didn't he get banned for saying cracker?
Yeah, because I fucking ratted them out. I went hard on Twitch. I got those motherfuckers.
Wait,
banned.
did you
didn't you say that?
deplatform?
Yeah.
Look at
Right.
this fucking
Coming
hypocrite.
You better
Yeah.
fucking believe it, dude. I was like,
You
these
better
motherfuckers,
apologize to Nick
fuck
Fuentes
these
right
guys.
I want to see
Now.
this clip on Dave Rubin's Twitter. Go. Defend yourself. Why is it okay for you to do it to him?
No, it wasn't. I don't think I deplatformed, but I complained a lot that because Twitch is very, 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 very racially sensitive in their TOS to fucking anything that's even remotely
Yeah.
bad. And having this guy going like, oh fuck crackers, the Mayo side, kill all white people. It's like, bro, that's so fucking stupid. Like you have to understand how horrible you look and how horrible you make all of us look when you say shit like this. Like you can't defend any progressive anything when you guys do this shit. It's so fucking annoying.
It is true. We got to set a line in the sand and be like, listen, you just can't say that stuff. Like, why? 'Cause
Not if you're gonna be so fucking sensitive on the other. Not if everything is like racism and white colonialism. That's fine. If you want to say everything is, that's fine. But you can't get up here and be like, oh, kill all men are rapists and kill all fucking white people. It's like, bro, come on.
Yeah, we have that problem on the right too.
With
like
what?
any new platform we have, like, okay, chat's open, and like, guys, can you just? Why aren't you saying it? Why aren't you saying it? Like, I just don't really want to say it right now.
I don't know if
yeah, right, pussy.
True. I feel like the G's on these guys' keyboards must be worn out by now, as much as they fucking
that and the brackets, they just put them around everything.
Yeah, what's all that about? You want to explain?
I have
for
a
us?
problem with the Jewish community, and they like to identify them with
brackets.
brackets.
But I think
where
we
that comes
should
from.
we should probably be going out of our way to normalize canceling people for saying bad things about white people, right? Or at least trying in vain. Because it does
Sure.
seem like that's probably a really bad thing for the future of society.
No, I
if
think-
it's okay to say that white people suck and not okay to say that about literally any other ethnic
Well, it's
group.
driving people insane. It's
Yeah.
making people go like, well, the next they're going to come into my house and kill me. And it's like, no, they're just stupid idiot
Yeah.
activists who say this shit.
We should
But it
try to
drives-
force people to be ideologically consistent on this and say that it's wrong to say hateful things about any race.
I think
right?
it's making people more racist the other way too. Like a
Agreed.
lot of these guys, I'm thinking you guys don't really want to say the N-word that much. You just you can't do it and it's not fair. And I feel that too. Like if you tell me not to say something and I feel like I'm being treated unfairly, I just want to break the rules until I get kicked out. Like there's so many guys that's part of being American for a lot of us, for a lot of American men. Anyway,
Don't tread on me.
yeah, exactly.
My N-word usage. But I think what happens is everybody, the unfairness. Human beings, we automatically recognize when a situation is unfair. Like monkeys recognize when a situation is unfair. I make you watch the video where they pay the monkeys differently. Have you ever seen that one?
Oh, and they start throwing the reward.
He
they
gives
don't
one
even
monkey,
want.
they do the same task, one gets a cucumber, one gets a grape, and the one getting the cucumber is like, what the fuck? Cucumbers suck. I'm doing the exact same shit as that fucking monkey. Why is he being rewarded and I'm being punished? So it's an instinctual fucking thing in animals. And then you go, hey, it's okay for these guys to shit on you and your race and everything about your culture, but if you do the same thing to them, we're going to ban you and you're removed from society. And it drives people fucking nuts. They're the monkey with the cucumber going like, I'm going to fucking, fuck those guys, and now I'm even more racist than I ever was.
Yeah.
You do have to make the rules fair because like it just drives people up a fucking wall. I think this is what happened to Scott Adams. He goes, it's not fair. So now I'm going to say all blacks are a hate group and all white people need to move away from it. And you're like, just
Which
make
is
Dilbert
weird.
cartoons. All you have to do is make Dilbert cartoons.
To be
Stop.
fair, the Scott Adams guy's been going crazy for fucking years.
Yeah,
That
but this is
broke
part
his
of
See
heart.
what
what's
that young
driving him
pussy did to
crazy.
him? Messed up his brain, man.
But she just left him.
Yeah, and that's why.
So that
you-
might have
that's
been
why
what
he's
triggered
even
this.
More unhinged.
Allegedly,
Yeah.
she just left him.
Probably
Also,
probably for a black guy.
she has like 1.4 million followers on Instagram, and her likes are pretty trash. So I'm just saying, maybe she did him a favor by peacing out.
But it takes
Yeah.
people like Scott Adams, who I want to say was probably a reasonable, intelligent guy, but it just drives them fucking nuts. And they start saying shit that they shouldn't be saying, and they know is wrong. Black people are not a hate group because
Here's
you
ra-
read a poll incorrectly that said they don't understand the phrase "it's okay to be white."
Okay, hypothetically, if it was true that 50% of black people said that they didn't want to be around
All
white
black
people, and
people
hated-
everywhere?
like if that was
Yeah.
actually true, then I think that maybe he would have kind of a point.
He
It's
would.
just that like my lived experience is that a very, very, very small percentage of black people ever express any kind of anti-white sentiment.
If the poll was, is it okay to line white people up against the wall and put a bullet in their head, and 99% of black people said, yeah, let's do it, I would understand Scott Adams going, hey, I kind of got a problem with this. Okay, if that was not the poll.
That's a hell of a poll.
That's what everybody is treating it as, though. And they're like, well, did you see the poll? Black people said that. I'm like, that's not what they were saying.
We have to get this weird fucking world too, where like left leaning people are like trying to reinvent like segregation and shit. Where it's like we
Yes.
need black only spaces in schools.
Black
we
college,
need non-white spaces.
dorms.
Yeah, it's really, really, really fucking weird.
But
like,
I realize how deep into the culture wars I am when like I was having a conversation with two of the guys on my channel, AD and T-Rel, who I would consider like not politically obsessed. And I said something about how it is considered politically acceptable to say negative things about white people in a way that it's not okay to say the same things about a lot of any other race. And they both looked at me like I was fucking out of my mind. Like they had no fucking clue what I was referring to because they're not like looking for these exceptions to the
Right.
rule or whatever.
Yeah.
So I was kind of like, okay, but also like what I'm going to include into that is something like what's that fucking Scooby-Doo spinoff that just came out that I didn't
Velma.
watch, but I watched your fucking video about
Oh,
it, which
did
is why
you?
it's at the top of my mind right now. But it's like I'm watching that and it's like kind of amazing how many jokes about white people you're able to like cut
Dude, like,
together.
immediately.
it's crazy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
It's pretty in your face if you're looking for it, right?
And part of the problem is I'm like, well, this is like lazy. It's not even funny. Like, why
Yeah.
do you feel you have to do this? Like, this is the current cultural zeitgeist. Is like, hey, we're allowed to say shit about white people. It's
Yeah.
like, yeah, but do you want to? What is the benefit?
So you're able to like mix and mingle in these spaces. Do you hear a lot of anti-white sentiment that we should know about?
No, since moving to LA, I pretty much just hear a lot of anti-people of color sentiment.
What?
What?
You hanging out with a bunch of Nazis or what?
Wow.
Just in the social media scene, like I hear a lot of benign racism.
Really?
Towards any groups in particular? Hispanics, blacks?
Any groups that we would know of?
Wait,
That we
any
might
any
join?
really funny jokes that we could repeat later?
Dick, you're
on?
Hispanic.
I
You
could
get,
add them to my routine.
do you experience a lot of hatred?
No,
in
because I
LA?
look white. I mean, I can't even.
white
I
passing.
was told by Harvard grads that I'm not allowed to even talk. White Harvard grads that I'm not even allowed to talk about Mexicanness or racism because I'm white passing. I was like, all right,
Really?
I'm done with this conversation.
See, I think as soon as you start having the white passing conversation, then it kind of becomes obvious that maybe this isn't what we want to like devote the entirety of our lived experience to.
Yeah,
figuring
it's-
out what racial buckets to put people
Did
into.
you ever
It's become so dumb. The conversations we have to have about race and stifle the segregation as like exactly like you're saying. It's the desired outcome. All this insanity we have to constantly entertain, including the very basic polar opposites of racism, of anti-black racism, which is all power. Systemic based oppressive power struggles, like oppressive power structures, versus anti-Semitic racism, which is the definition of those power structures. So you have to constantly not be both. Like you can't say a racism is culture based, and you can't say a positive racism is oppressive structure based. And it's just like fucking mind numbing because you're like, I don't care. I want to live in the middle with everyone else. I don't want to have to deal with this shit.
You
One of
want to
my
hate the
one of my-
blacks and the Jews equally.
One of my favorite.
Is that so wrong?
One of my
He's joking, guys. He's just joking.
One of my favorite mini arcs
I'm
on my
just saying
stream
they're
is,
totally
opposite-
incompatible ideas.
No, yeah, for sure. There's a guy on my stream that comes up pretty often called Dan, and he's Jewish. And I make sometimes in chat, I fuck around with it. I make a lot of anti-Jewish jokes, and people try to hit me with like, I don't really think it's cool to do like the anti-Semitic thing. And it's like, well, racism is like power plus prejudice, and Jews have all the power right now, so I figure I can't be racist towards
Yeah.
Jews, right?
And it is kind of hard to figure out what you say in response to that, besides that you're just like treating the Jews unfair, or you're just being anti-Semitic by acting as if the Jews are in power. Even just saying that is enough for you to be anti-Semitic in a lot of
Yeah.
people's books, right?
Yeah.
That's a weird world to I think there's very good academic ways to engage with really complicated and nuanced conversations about like racism and everything. And I think it's good to look at power structures and to analyze it and everything. But sometimes I always do this in debates when I'm having a conversation with somebody. Sometimes like, okay, hold on. Let's take a step back. Like really far back in the macro level, like what the fuck are we arguing for right now? Because sometimes when you take a step back from a conversation, you're like, okay, well, what am I actually arguing for? You realize like I think something is getting fucked up right now because like I'm in a conversation where I'm arguing that it's okay to be racist against a certain group of people because maybe their ancestors did something bad. Like when you back up and you macro analyze things, I think you start to see like, okay, this is fucked. Like let's like refocus because you can use academic definitions to get almost anywhere in a conversation, and it gets really, really weird at some point in time.
What was going through your head when Lex Friedman was grilling you about saying?
I just thought it was such a dumb conversation.
I was like,
You're supposed to say it was a
well, you were
conversation.
kind of like not engaging and just sort of like, okay, that's your opinion. All right, like, but it was really hard to listen
There's
to.
something I've had to. This is such a hard thing for me to wrestle with. And I'm sure you guys have probably all of you have thought about this. Is like there's a certain amount of I need to engage with the culture, and there's a certain amount of like I want to change the culture. And you have to find a happy medium between the two. So like
It's the hill you're gonna die on.
Well, I mean, I can't say. I don't even know what I can say here. There's a lot of stuff I can't say anymore. So yeah, which hill are you gonna do? I would drop.
I won't.
But it's a.
I can't think of a good reason to.
I'm a Massachusetts
just not
boy.
a
It is our
place it
sacred
with.
word
Where
in
at?
Massachusetts.
Where?
I lived in Western Mass and then most of my life, and then Boston for a bit.
I'm from New Hampshire, so
Oh,
kindred spirits.
so you're wicked at it as
Yeah,
well.
Wicked.
That's
That's how
wicked
I grew
with
up.
that.
I grew up wicked gay.
Yeah.
Wicked,
Dude, you're wicked
queer.
gay right now. Stop it.
Wicked
So
fucking queer.
gay. Yeah. They can't take those words from us. That's
they're
Boston
gone.
strong, man.
Yeah.
Those bombers came in, and you're gonna take our words away as well. Anyway,
We're definitely like the last ones fighting for it for sure.
Yeah, I worry about that too, because you don't want to be like. Did anyone hear of like a grandma or grandpa that would still call? They weren't racist, but they would call black people like colored people.
sure.
Yeah.
I had a grandma that would say that. I was like, Grandma, you probably shouldn't. Well, I was too young. I didn't even know. I was like,
Yeah.
You probably shouldn't say that. She didn't mean anything about it. I wonder sometimes if that's like gonna be us. Like our kids will look at us and be like, Dad,
But when I was
retarded
a
is
kid,
just not cool.
Our
Maybe
kids are
don't-
gonna be too busy cutting off all their body parts to worry about what words we're
Jesus
saying.
but I think
Christ.
I remember my grandma saying colored and not even thinking it was offensive in any way because I'm pretty sure in like the 80s it wasn't considered offensive.
It was
yet.
getting there. I don't know exactly when it turned around.
Well, because there's the NAACP, like they were owning it, like that was official shit.
I think 70s you started not being supposed to say colored.
I mean, it's fair. It sounds kind of old school for sure.
Yeah.
Look at all the style guides for like how to address because we went through African Americans was a really good word because it described black people
You
that were the
think?
descendants of slaves in the United States. Yes,
Sure.
Because one problem we have today is I know this guy gets so many emails from so many different types of black people. Black like African Americans that are descendants of slaves in the United States that become like politically active get really irritated when a lot of the people that speak for these movements are black immigrants. And
Right.
if you're an
That's what I was
immigrant
saying.
from like Nigeria, from Kenya, or whatever, you're coming over. You're probably wealthy. You're usually really educated, and your lived experience is so much different than a descendant of a slave that grew up in like a different place, like an African American.
And
But
have
then-
a history of suffering.
yeah, exactly. So totally, but like African American became deprecated, and then we use like Black Americans. Now I think blacks is actually New York Times style guide, just black, which sounds racist to me. It's just even weird because we didn't used to say
Well,
that.
you capitalize it, so it's not
yeah,
racist.
you capitalize it, but yeah, but it's funny.
It's
like how
hard to
many
say it
different words-
softly.
That's how
You can accidentally call someone black like a little bit too hard. You know?
maybe, yeah,
like
that
if you're
feels
in a
like-
bad mood, like you're ranting about something, like, oh, well, which guy is it? The black guy over there. Oh, like, oh shit, that was
I
about
meant
something else.
The black guy over
It's
there.
so,
Yeah.
yeah, it gets so
I'm a
weird
black
and silly. I
gentleman
don't
over there.
know.
No, but that is a good point. Is that there is no distinction between now Black Americans and African Americans because there are a lot of immigrants who.
Well, it's starting because now Democrats are learning that not all brown people are the same.
Yeah.
They've learned of the past two election cycles.
We also learned you can't just put an X at the end to make everybody happy.
oh, for Latinx
Well, like,
or
oh,
whatever.
yeah.
Oh my God,
You're
yeah.
African X.
That no one cares about
Latinx.
that shit. Yeah.
Are you a
And
DeSantis ex-believer?
What do you mean, ex-believer?
Well, I just threw in the X, but do you believe DeSantis could win?
I don't, dude. I'm who the fuck makes any prediction more than 6 months out in American politics? I have
I
no
know, but there's just
Yes.
I remember even like
He
6
could.
months ago, it was just like nonstop conversation of like DeSantis can unseat Trump. Like this is how it's going to go down.
Here's the
And
problem with Trump.
People seem a little bit less confident now.
Trump was a funny guy, and he won big in his election.
Mm.
People like winners, and people like funny dudes. Regardless of how much cope the Republicans are on, and they might not even know this, it's not fun watching Trump cry over and over and over again about losing the election.
Mm.
If he can just drop that shit and go back to like, what did he call him? Fucking Meatball Santas or what?
What was it?
Yeah.
The Sanctimonious.
Or he's got like, yeah. If he goes
That's
back
not
to,
a good one.
He called him a groomer. I really
That's
want-
funny.
He's
Now
got to
that's
keep doing
funny.
that.
He
That's
did.
great. That's hilarious.
Yeah, if he can go back to like calling people names, doing funny shit like that, if like whatever. Maybe he can pick
DeSantis
up
is
Tim
not
Gunn.
funny. I don't think he's funny. Is he
No.
funny?
No, he's not funny.
He can't
talks
win.
like a nerd.
Yeah. You got to
He
be
wears
funny.
a suit to UFC events and chit chats with the Nelka boys and stuff though. So he
Yeah.
kind of knows how to like blend in with.
porn out of the library. Shut up. It's not funny. Say something funny about it at least.
There's no way Biden doesn't win, right? Like the election harvesting
I think
shit is
it's-
still happening.
It's like 2 years. Fuck
I mean,
off.
it's-
Also, it's like we're still like 2 years from the election.
Sorry
right?
to,
I don't know.
Sorry to
If you want to
spoil
hear
the-
that argument
sorry to
every week,
spoil the surprise.
check out the biggest problem in the universe because it comes up every fucking week on the show.
What ballot
Well, if
harvesting?
Biden didn't
saying.
steal all those fucking ballots,
jelly beans or whatever I have to call them on
Yeah.
YouTube.
Biden stole all the jelly beans is the going discussion topic.
Damn, so you guys have to do that too? Because if you didn't know, on TikTok we all have to call ourselves cornstars, and you have to unalive
Yeah,
yourself.
unalive.
Yeah.
There's,
Dude,
there's
that
a lot of
euphemism
even
shit,
weirder ones.
Oh, the graping. Oh my god, I just want to kill myself every time
So
unalive
painful.
myself.
And there's a lot of conversations of like, okay, is corn emoji, star emoji, is that being shadow banned now? We don't
See,
know.
these tech companies will just tell us the rules. Say you can't say these words, and if you say them, this. But the problem is they don't want us to like subvert them and whatever else.
Yeah, but also you got to
I'm
really.
playing games with a fucking robot. Like, I hate that my life is dictated by a magic robot programmed by an asshole.
Yeah.
And I go like, can I?
They ruined video games for you.
They've ruined everything. It's when I'm trying to title a YouTube video, I'm like, can I say like this guy died? Can I say like,
Yeah.
Yeah,
you know?
almost everything I want to say is something that I probably shouldn't say in a YouTube title. Like everything we want to talk about
Yeah.
is like in some way violent or something offensive.
It's horrifying that our lives are being decided. Again, I don't know who it is, but I think it's these weird activists and these trust and safety committees.
I'm sure I don't know who it is.
Making insane rules. That was the thing about the Netflix protest that drove me nuts. Is they go, we don't want to ban Chappelle. We just want you to put, I don't know, 5 or 10 trans people on the trust and safety team. And I go, oh, I know what you're doing. I get it. Because once you get in there, it's not about stopping Chappelle. It's about stopping the next Chappelle. Like a guy who's up and coming and he's funny and he's making jokes that are real and raw. And you go, he's a little problematic for the network. And you can just, again, you can unalive these people on social media. Like, I disappeared from Twitter and you didn't know I was gone. And a million other people didn't know I was gone.
I blame
Yeah.
fucking conservatives. Fuck them.
Sure,
They
go
needed-
nuts.
They shouldn't have made fun of the arts so much. It fucking pisses me off because what happened is all the schools got taken over by lefties and liberals.
Yep.
All of fucking entertainment, every fucking musician, every fucking artist, every stand-up comedian are all liberals because all conservatives did all the time was they shit on art, they shit on music, they shit
They
on
still do.
anything. Yeah, and then
Yeah.
they're like, well, I don't know how the schools are taking over because you sit here and said education was a waste of time for fucking. You told everybody an electrician and a plumber. Fuck you. And now the conservatives are looking like, fuck, we lost the culture
Why
war. It's like,
don't-
you
yeah.
didn't even lose the culture war. You didn't even participate in the culture war. You just sat and watched it all fucking roll by you. What the fuck?
You're like, why don't we own art? And it's like, you told everyone art's gay. So
Yeah.
all the gay kids
Exactly.
went to art school and became the next generation of
Yeah.
artists. You lose, sir. Good day.
What's the difference between J.K. Rowling and Scott Adams? Is it just that one person?
It's that J.K. Rowling is right.
Yeah, well, I would generally agree.
J.K. Rowling is kind of right, but
She's
anytime
kind of right.
she's got some good points, but anytime somebody gets that fixated on one thing, you gotta wonder,
But
right?
do you think she's that fixated? She hasn't
She
made
is
this
ultra
many public
fixated.
statements about
You
it,
ever
right?
meet a libertarian that knows the age of consent in all 50 states?
Probably Mr. Girl.
When you meet people like this, you're like, you're not saying anything wrong. It's a little fucking weird that you're so obsessed with this
What is she
topic.
so fixated on? Just the erasure of women?
So if you didn't know this, every single British woman that is a feminist also fucking hates trans people. All of them do. And here's the problem is initially J.K. Rowling said crazy shit, but trans activists online rose to the challenge and started to fulfill all the crazy shit she said. And now her arguments seem more legitimate. And then now that all steam.
She was right on accident, you mean?
Basically, yeah, because but it's kind of like everybody from Twitter from 2016, where people are
Yeah.
like, oh well, pretty soon, people are going to be kneeling and kissing the boots of black people in the streets while begging forgiveness. Like, no one's going to do this.
And then they did.
And
They
then
did.
yeah, and then they did. It's like, okay, well, fuck me, I guess.
I always get people, nobody will ever get a female ID as like a joke to get fun benefits. And I'm like, I went to the DMV the day they put that rule into place and got a female ID.
Do you really?
I am now a legal woman in the state of California.
It's just it gets a little goofy sometimes.
And then Biden starts going, I'm going to give tax credits to women. I'm like, all right,
Oh, then I'm
Biden,
gonna do
let's-
it then.
Let's
Fuck
line
this.
them up. You should go to the DMV and check a box, and you get better taxes. And if you go to prison, you get to go to lady prison, which is a lot more fun, I imagine.
So.
You
Yeah.
really think that they'd put you in the women's jail?
What legal reason would they have to deny me? I'm a
But
woman.
would you go for it, or would you be like,
I
I'm
am
going to be
a
with the
legal
boys?
woman in the state of California, and if they try to deny me, I'll sue their fucking shit. Like,
God,
like-
imagine if you go to women's prison though and you can't even get laid in there.
No, it's going to be horrible for me. It's going to
It's
be
full of trans
super
It'd be
men, like
all
it-
over.
It's going to be all trans guys and ladies, and then I'm going to get
That's got to be a
passed
skit.
around.
Where a guy goes through fucking 50 million hoops and he gets in to find.
Yeah.
It's like a 15-minute skit, and the
another
final 5
guy.
seconds is him walking in, and it's a whole bunch of
All
fucking
right,
Vitos.
time to meet my new cellmate. My name's Bruno. Damn it! Come on!
First time.
That's pretty crazy because that essentially turns like women's prisons into like a weird sex club meetup
Yeah.
zone that you can now sort of enter into if you're clued in enough.
Exactly.
If you watch your podcast.
Hey man, you got to run the system. Make the system work for you.
Yeah.
And if they take my female ID away, I'm okay with that because I don't think I'm supposed to have it. It makes no sense to me that I have it, but the fact that I have the ability to obtain it.
Wait, do you have it on you?
Yeah. I'll show you later.
Oh shit.
My picture is terrible.
Oh, not enough makeup that day.
Yeah, exactly. I went in like completely haggard, and I'm like, oh, I really fucked up that picture.
You didn't even wear a fucking dress for. You didn't even commit to the bit.
No, I just went in and I went to.
Dick would have worn a dress. He would have went in.
Why?
With
Why?
a bow in his hair.
I
Because you're
can
getting a
be
goddamn
a
female
woman.
ID.
A woman can be whatever she wants to be, Destiny.
Have you got pulled over at any point in the last since
Yeah.
you did this and the cops kind of confused?
I don't know. They kind of gave me a look, but then they're like, whatever.
He's like, do I want to go viral on TikTok today?
This body cam footage is coming out.
Going through TSA, they're kind of like, I don't know anymore, and then they just let you through. I think everybody is just kind of giving up on trying to figure it out.
Wow.
They're like, it's an ugly lady, but you know, what are you gonna do?
So, do you think I'm wrong for Destiny? You think like from what I've seen of the J.K. Rowling thing, I don't really feel like she said anything that offensive. Do you
Here's the
think
issue.
it's offensive? Do you think
Yeah.
the trans people are right?
Okay, here's the issue. J.K. Rowling initially made complaints. This is what all turfy women do, okay?
Uh-huh.
Trans exclusionary radical feminists. Is they said that trans women were going to come in, they were going to steal our spaces and make us unsafe. That's what they said. I think 5 years ago, that was ridiculous to say because people weren't advocating for that. Trans people just wanted the right to medical care that wasn't cosmetic, that was covered by insurance, that could help them live the lives they wanted to live, which is fine. I think it was fine. But then things got a little bit crazy. COVID accelerated everything crazy. And now you've got people saying things like, I've seen huge Twitter threads with like 80,000 likes saying the only reason women's sports were invented was because women were kicking the ass of like all the men in sports. So it's like, have you ever seen a real man or woman in your entire fucking life?
I've
Or-
never
or-
seen
they were
women's sports, but I
dominating.
know that's not true.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, you get all of these insane like posts. You're starting to see more of the like my 2-year-old daughter identified as a trans man or whatever.
Yeah.
Or you see all
She
these
picked
things.
up a GI Joe, and I knew.
Yeah.
One of the guys that assaulted us at the Netflix when we found out later his daughter or son, I don't remember which, was trans. So that's why it was such an important issue. Remember
Yes.
that?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
My
Came
daughter's
at
pretty
us.
into Buzz Lightyear. Is that a problematic?
You have a
thing?
trans.
Yeah, it's just so now like all those turfy arguments seem a little bit.
No one's
more
gonna cut
true.
off a little kid's dick, and now we're kind of going in that direction.
But so you're admitting defeat here? You're saying
I'm
that
not
she was
admitting
right about
defeat.
everything?
I don't think she was right. I think she
You're saying
stumbled
you were
into
temporarily
she
right.
stumbled into the correct answer because people rose to the occasion to prove her correct.
Are a lot of your enemies like accidentally right sometimes, you find?
If you give them 5 years, I guess they will be right.
She was a predictor. She saw the writing on the wall.
That was my favorite part about
You
the
give them an
trans-
inch, they take a mile.
But
They
do,
take
They
six
take
inches.
several inches.
do you think
away.
that the massive success of Hogwarts Legacy is in some way making some trans people so and like the Chappelle thing I would say is similar where it's like some people just seem to be getting sick of this whole
Yeah.
little scam that they've got us caught up in where they have convinced us that we need to be concerned with offending them all the time?
It's promoted all the time on the news. Like it's always trans this, trans this. I'm like, there's no way this is the only news.
It
That's
would
going
appear
on
that people
today.
aren't really going for it if you look at the Chappelle thing or the Hogwarts Legacy thing, right?
I think another issue too. I'm gonna blame conservatives again. Fuck them. Is conservatives have no fucking platform in this country anymore besides social issues. You ever notice that? Conservatives aren't talking about the economy or trade or even fucking immigration anymore. All
Yeah.
they want to talk about are fucking trans people.
Yes.
I feel like every time a conservative opens his mouth, it's going to be repeating something J.K. Rowling said or talking about some trans woman that went in a bathroom or beat up a kid in school or some shit. And it's like, Jesus. So I think they drive a lot of the media cycle too because right now they don't have much of an economic platform. It's all social
Their
shit.
platform is becoming the platform of these reactionary YouTubers where they're putting out political ads going, I'm going to de-wokeify America.
Yeah,
I'm like,
oh
I
my
don't,
God.
I don't want you to care about any
Raise
of
the
that.
minimum wage. What the fuck are you
I'm
talking
going to
about?
punish
Jesus.
Disney for putting a gay character in Buzz Lightyear. How does that help me pay my bills, you cocksucker?
Oh my
That's not
God.
helpful at all.
Political ads have basically become like Tim Pool thumbnails.
Yes, yes.
It's
Dude,
so
I saw one
crazy.
today, and it's like, don't you hate that these woke people are ruining your Star Wars? I'm like, that's my job. I complain about that, not you.
You
Like,
should get canceled. I am for cancel culture, and it should be if you ever put the word woke in anything, just get off
Yes.
the internet for like you get a 2-week ban until nobody says woke anymore or anti-woke or whatever the fuck.
It's killing me.
Oh
how
my
much?
God.
How much blame do trans people deserve for like this whole concept of like, well, I'm a woman now. Well, what is it then?
The problem
Like,
is that
it
there's
just having
two
long
types
hair,
of trans people. Okay,
not being able to drive. Like, what? Tell me what it is.
there are two types of trans people. There are the trans people that are like actually trans people, and if you meet them in real life, most of them just want to be able to do their shit past and be left the fuck alone.
Yes.
They cringe when the Leah Thomas shit, they cringe when all the weird Twitter shit comes up. And then you have like, there's a new breed of trans person. And the new breed of trans person is an 18 to 24-year-old woman that has
Okay.
dyed her hair and has a septum piercing and identifies as a non-binary ZZM. And it's like the fastest growing. Like whenever you see stats that are like 10% of Americans are now trans, it's like 2% are trans and 98% are non-binary. And it's like
Yeah.
these types of like college age people. But the problem is that and I've always said this, when you're in college, I think you should be crazy. You should be an activist. You should be out there because you're in fucking college. It's your time to do that. That's fine.
Mhm.
But the problem is now the way that they're expressing that is with transness, and that can't be attacked, right? If you back in the 90s or 2000, you have like scene kids, you've got skaters, you've got goth kids, whatever. You want to say like, listen,
Make fun of them all
yeah,
the time.
it's a phase. You'll grow out of
Yeah.
it. Like you're goofy, whatever. But you can't say to a 19, you're like, oh, cute. You're non-binary. Like you'll figure your shit out in 4 years. You can't say that because now it's horrible. And the worst thing ever is we gave kids too much fucking power because now a 20-year-old, no offense, thinks their opinion matters by going on fucking social media and giving life advice and activist advice to the fucking world by telling everybody how everything should be.
Whenever
Yeah,
I
but
see
it
a
still
sub-
goes back to the like, what is his name? The porn star or her? I forget which one it is.
Buck Angel.
Buck Angel. Yeah. It,
We love Buck.
We had
Yeah, I
him on
love-
a while back. He's fucking amazing.
I think I don't want to mischaracterize what he says, but it all goes back to this like, well, you can't tell me I'm not a woman question, right? Like that is the seems to be the core problem with everybody involved in this, which is as soon as I have that identity, I can go to the bathroom, I can do all kinds of this other shit that biological women or whatever the fuck
Because
you
there's
have
no
to say.
difference. They say
Because
there's
there's
no
no difference. And then everybody on their side, like even the people in the middle of this controversy, very few of them will say, well, there's a difference. Do you know what I mean?
Well,
like it's
some
hard
of
to
them
get
now
to
have
say,
gaslit themselves into going, you're right, there is no difference.
Exactly.
We
Yeah,
only
but-
split up sports because the women
yes,
were winning.
yes.
But the problem is that you get, again, this is one of those things where you get horrible engagement from both sides. People on the left are pushing this idea of self-ID. If you say you're a woman, you're a woman. That's ridiculous.
Like me.
Nobody fucking views it that way. You don't do it that
Okay.
way. That's so stupid. But the
Okay.
problem on the right is the people go like, oh, well, like a woman is like a biological female. And it's like, realistically, these concepts mean more than that, right? Because you see somebody and you assume they're a woman, but you've never looked at their chromosomes, you've never touched their vagina, right? And then especially when conservatives make appeals where it's like, you should go to the bathroom that you're biologically sexed in. Bullshit.
Yeah.
You would fucking kill yourself if you made a law that said that Buck Angel was going to be in a stall next to your little daughter. You would go crazy. Or if you said that Blair White was going into the men's bathroom, you wouldn't accept that, obviously, right?
Yeah.
So like people.
Wait a
sound-
minute. Wait,
yeah.
why wouldn't I accept either of those things?
Because conservatives.
Because you'd see like, oh, that's what is that creep going into the women's room for?
Yeah.
But
When
when
it comes to like topics of gender and sex, it's a really complicated way that we like diagnose and analyze people or whatever.
But when I'm
yeah.
sitting there having a conversation the other day with Buck Angel and Blair White, and the version of like being a trans person that they embrace is basically one that I feel like almost every American could agree on, in the sense that like Blair White wants to use the women's bathroom, but she's not going to be naked and having people see her penis in the locker room at the gym. She thinks that would be inappropriate, which to me it obviously is. Like if you want to pass as a trans woman and not be given a hard time or anything, you're not going to be fucking displaying your penis in public. And the people that you see doing that, which it's funny when you sit there and do podcasts with trans people, because you realize how much like image matters to them, because they're talking about the Wii Spot incident as if it's the biggest fucking scam ever, because this woman is basically looking like fucking Vito and not trying to pass as a woman at all. And it's just fucking ridiculous to somebody
Yes.
like fucking Buck or Blair White, who's like fully committed to portraying the gender that they
that's a
identify
big
as.
question. Is okay for Buck Angel and Blair White. It's very easy because they pass.
Right.
I go, yeah, that's pretty much a guy.
But they,
yeah,
they
that's
had to
pretty
put
much
in a lot
girl.
of work to get there.
They did, but
But-
then you have a lot
but-
of trans people who go, I'm non-binary. I got a big old beard, and I put on some mascara.
Yeah, but again, that's
Being a
where you run
goofy
into the issue.
asshole.
So there's a term that separates those two groups of people that I talked about before. Some people get really mad at this, but there's a term called gender dysphoria. Gender dysphoria means you have an extreme discomfort with the way that you present versus the way that you feel inside. In my opinion, you don't have gender dysphoria, you're not a trans person. Because typically people that have dysphoria will seek to alleviate it by passing as the gender that they
Right.
internally identify as. But the weird thing that you run into is you'll get these like trans women or trans men that'll be like, oh yeah, I'm trans, but I don't care about passing. In fact, I think a woman can be anything. It's like, well, if a woman can be anything, why the fuck are you trans then? Why
Right,
can't a
what is
man be
the
anything? Yeah, what the
difference?
fuck are you even saying at that point? Because you'll get people arguing for male lesbians, or you'll get people arguing for like trans mask femi people or whatever. And it's like at some point, you're just talking about like your identity. Like you're not really talking about like gender at all. You just kind of are talking about your aesthetic. And it gets really stupid that
Well,
it all
that's-
falls under the umbrella of trans. Yeah.
That's the craziest thing, or like the hardest thing to parse from the trans community, is they'll tell you a million things a trans person doesn't have to be. They'll go, a woman doesn't have to have a vagina. A woman doesn't have to have breasts. She doesn't have to have this, this, and this. And I go, okay, I
Or
got
a
the list.
job.
I got the list. Yeah. I got the list of everything a woman doesn't have to have. Tell me something a woman does have to have.
Right.
Yeah.
Give me some way to delineate what is the difference between a man and a woman. And they go, You know, it's just like what you feel, man.
And then that's when you have to back up and then you ask the macro question, like, well, what the fuck are you arguing? If you're telling me that there's no difference between a biological woman and a trans woman, a cis woman, then why the fuck are so many retarded fucking trans people killing themselves? Why not just tell them, hold on, don't kill yourself. There's no difference.
Yes,
yeah.
exactly.
Why are you suicidal, you dumb fuck? There's no difference.
You're already a woman.
Yeah, you're a woman.
Or a man.
But
Whatever you
clearly,
want.
yeah,
Yes,
but
it drives me
actual
nuts.
trans people clearly don't feel that way.
No,
are driven
they
by-
have.
Exactly,
they
yeah.
know there's a difference.
Yeah.
They know they have a difference that they've defined for themselves.
Mm-hmm.
But when you ask them, okay, we'll define it. What is it? Is it what you wear? Is it how you
No,
dress? Is it
but
how
if you
talk?
ask one of those trans people with dysphoria, because I've talked to a ton of them,
Yes.
they will give you
They'll
answers.
have an answer.
They'll say that like a woman's body, the silhouette looks different than a male's body.
Sure.
That when I've been on estrogen or whatever drug taking for a while, my skin feels different. Like I have a different emotional foundation with the hormones going through me. Like they'll give you a lot of answers for what makes them feel more feminine versus what makes them feel more masculine.
Yeah.
But when you talk to like the non-binaries that are, they're like, oh, I believe in gender abolition and none of it makes sense. And yeah, I identify as different pronouns depending on my mood. And it's like, okay, well, fuck you then.
I believe in gender abolition just so far as, let's just take it to the logical extreme and see what happens. Because I don't think anybody's going to be happy about it.
Well, how much of this is just driven by overregulation? Like, why do we have to have this conversation at all? Because, like,
Because of the law. Because it comes down to a matter of like legally, should a woman be allowed to? Should LeBron James be allowed to play in the WNBA as a matter of like?
let's just get rid of the
sexual
WNBA
discrimination?
then. Problem solved. Everyone will be
Well,
happy.
that's taking it to its logical extreme. It's like, okay, let's abolish all women's
Yeah.
spaces and see how everybody feels about
Is
it.
it Title IX related? Is that
There's
why
some
we
of
have to
that.
do this?
Yeah, probably.
Whenever
think
I hear
people-
anybody arguing that the WNBA should get paid more, I think that abolition is probably a pretty good idea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You could
I
pay
think-
them not to play.
I think they should get paid less,
Jesus.
a lot less. What were you gonna say?
Well, that's mean.
Oh, I was just.
I think they should get paid whatever they're worth.
I think people just want like communities to fit in, and now like trans is kind of the new thing for a lot of kids, because like a lot of kids probably feel like pretty like atomized is the term. We're all like pretty separated
Yeah.
out, and like the internet has kind of like fundamentally altered the composition of the world in our lives, and people are just looking for places to fit in.
Yes, which is why we need to bring back goth kids. Full force. We need goth kids to make a return. If you're in a band right now, become a goth band, inspire kids. Give them a subculture where they can feel weird and floaty and artistic and wear
Yeah.
stupid
They
clothes
listen to MGK
and paint
now.
their fucking nails and not have to make weird decisions about gender and put themselves on hormones.
And everyone can hate them.
Yeah, and then everybody can hate on them because it's not
Yeah.
really. We go, oh, those fucking goth kids, they're stupid.
But when's the
whatever.
last time you even saw
But in a way, we
goth
kinda love
kid?
them.
'Cause
That's
I
the problem, they
whenever I go to
disappeared.
the mall, I always kind of figure I'm going to see like one goth kid at least, and it just never happens.
The subculture.
Was there a last one? Like, was there a
What was the last
goth on
subculture?
Earth and said, "What the hell am I doing?"
No, but when I would go to the fucking mall on a Friday night when I was in junior high, it was like a straight up like goth club. There was so many
I
fucking
loved it.
teenage
I loved
goths
it.
just hanging out outside the Hot Topic.
Kids
dude.
with too many buckles?
Those are the good old days.
Big old duck
1997.
with
Pants with all the
dusters.
pockets. and
Yeah.
the stupid fucking.
I remember always seeing those pants and being like, someday I'm gonna have the pants with too many pockets. And then I just never, as a fat kid, you can't do goth.
Yeah, you can
It
do whatever you want.
The fat goth is the worst goth.
There's a lot of kids.
Everyone knew it.
Goth as a way to not have to lose weight.
Yes.
You, like wear a bunch of cool goth outfits that are kind of.
But the skinny
off your
goth
body.
kids, you're always like, yeah, like a fucking vampire. And then you see the fat goth kid and you're like, what are you doing? What is this? It didn't work. I couldn't do it. It's my
That's
one
right.
regret in life.
That you didn't have a goth face.
That I didn't get to,
There's no way you only have one regret in life.
Okay, well, of my many, many regrets in life.
What's your
That's one
gayest
of them.
subculture thing that you ever did in your life?
What's the gayest thing I ever did?
Like I went to a ska show one time and I was skanking.
Oh,
in the pit, so that
subculture
kind of
related?
stands out to me as maybe being near the top.
That's pretty good.
Skanking is pretty bad.
I loved the ska shows. Those were
Probably the
fun.
furry filling my balls with saline.
Yeah,
That
you let a
was
furry
pretty
fill your
gay.
balls.
He's like, "Don't you want to do it?" It's a needle around your dick. I'm like, "Well, it's funnier if you do."
I think
Obviously
ska was
not.
just too happy to last. Like
They had a lot of fun.
it doesn't really. It kind of made sense in the '90s, but even like going into the 2000s, it was just too positive.
Yeah, when did ska get away from us?
Was that like the Mighty Mighty Boss Tones?
Real
Was
Big
that
Fish.
peak of
Well, they were
it?
like a pretty
Real
cool
Big
version
Fish.
of it. Real Big Fish were pretty gay at a certain point. I think. They
Yeah,
were a
I think
little
Real
too-
Big Fish might have been the turning point because that was kind of like the mainstream, the closest ska
Exactly.
got the
No,
mainstream.
because No Doubt had a huge effect on it because after No Doubt, the labels started signing all these fucking ska bands and trying to turn them into pop acts, and I bet that
Yeah.
kind of had a negative impact on it. Ska just wasn't edgy enough. But if you go back to like the specials and like London and shit, all this like where it really came from,
Yeah.
that shit was really like cool and badass. They all dressed like early.
They
skinheads
had
and
intense
shit.
lyrics. The music would just be like, it's like, my dad fucking killed himself. And you're like, well, you can't do both. You gotta
Yeah.
pick a lane. Yeah.
Yeah. I had a lot of like ska bands in my high school that like stopped being bands as soon as high school was over. I don't think a lot of them like survived.
No,
the like
didn't make it
because it's
through.
like if you have a subculture that's made up entirely of normies, then at some point they're just going to go about doing their normie adult things. Whereas a lot of punks and like hip hop kids and stuff, they kind of are dedicated to it.
Well, part of the appeal of a subculture is you want to be, you're rebelling against something. You're different from the mainstream. You're out there, and I think
I
that
have
is
blue hair.
Yeah. Well, I'm not gonna knock him for
streamer.
that. Looks good on him. What do you call it? But that's, I think, why we got into this meshing of, all the kids are like, oh, I'm queer, I'm non-binary, whatever. Is like, not only are you part of a subculture, but like, you're a victim that like fucking you can fight on the streets, man, for your rights to be gay and wave a flag and whatever else.
It's fun. You go to
Yeah.
a protest, meet some friends,
Yeah.
cut your dicks off, do whatever you want.
Well, it's
Everybody
like-
wants to be a victim of some sort because victims are afforded the most
Especially
interest.
middle class kids.
Yeah,
Just damn.
kids
you don't
are,
have anything to complain about. It's like the worst thing in the fucking
It's
world.
really hard for like boring white kids to accept. I'm just kind of a boring white kid. I accepted it. I had fun with it, whatever. But like most kids are like, no, I'm special. I'm
It's the
different,
worst
man.
thing.
I have like an identity that people don't. It's like, yeah, I know, but like you don't really. Come on. And that's why the kids gravitate towards it because they want to be able. I remember one guy. I knew a guy. Worst guy ever. He worked at the DVD store. He was a complete dick to everybody. He just wanted to rent some Simpsons DVDs. He's always a dick about it. And one day they go, hey, that guy's trans now. And I go, oh, now he has like a million more things to complain about. I totally understand why he wants to be, because he would complain about fucking, and now he can complain, society is systemically keeping me down, man, as a woman.
Yeah.
And I'm like, absolutely, I get why it appeals to you. And I meet a lot of trans people who I go, oh, you're a very dissatisfied young man, and now you're an extremely dissatisfied
How many
old
trans
woman.
people are you actually meeting? Because I feel like even I'm still kind of limited. If I wasn't going out of my way to meet trans people, I probably would be pretty low.
Well, there was that one fucking survey where Americans were asked what percentage of the population do you think is trans? Wasn't it on average between Republicans and Democrats like 27% of the population?
Did they say that high?
Yeah, I was like, oh my fucking god.
Why do you think this?
Jesus.
Where are they?
It reminded me
Yeah.
of that when Matt Walsh was on Joe Rogan.
Oh
And they
yeah,
asked
what
him,
was the
how many children do you think are puberty blocks? He's like, I don't know, millions. Didn't you just do a whole documentary on that?
Yeah.
Millions of kids?
Dude, that
you
was-
don't think we would hear about that? No offense to you anti-vaxxers, I know you all are. But that's like when the anti-vaxxers are like, oh yeah, like there's all these like billions of people are having complications. Then why is it that I only see the two same kids on Project Veritas that are having
Trump
a vaccine
rescued
fucking side effects?
millions of kids from the tunnels beneath New York City.
Jesus.
All right. There were millions of kids being trafficked, and he rescued them
sure
from the
he
mole
did.
people.
Thank you, Trump.
I don't know where they went. Maybe
He turned them
took
into
somewhere
NFTs.
safe. Yeah, I hope so.
We should turn this podcast into an NFT.
We should
All the best images.
mint it.
Yeah, where's
Yeah.
the no jumper? I'm gonna lie, or I'm not gonna lie. I almost wanted to do a crypto scam. I thought about it. Where's your crypto scam?
I thought about it when I first started learning about NFTs, and I'm glad that I didn't do it because it definitely would have blended in with every other like scammy NFT. And I don't think there's any way that I ever would have been able to like turn it into something that maintained.
No, I'm
value
talking about just
long-term.
doing a scam. Yeah,
Oh, just do a straight up scam where that's the plan all
that's what it
along?
feels like
Yeah.
most of them are. Yeah,
I had a great
They
crypto
are.
scam planned. I was gonna make a bunch of fake Banksies around LA with a QR code next to them, like buy
my
this fucking
God.
Banksy.
But then you
And
have to
it's-
actually come up with an idea that's good enough that it seems like it
Dude,
would actually
Banksy
be
shit
a
is so
Banksy.
easy. It's like,
You
oh,
think?
there's a homeless guy, but someone's putting a Bitcoin in his hat. Oh my, what does that mean for the future of society? Like, it's the easiest shit in the world. Come on.
That is a good idea.
What's he gonna do with a loser? Yeah, I know.
I kind
Banksy,
of regret that I
fucking
wasn't
idiot.
able to get a crypto scammer, or at least doing like a bunch of promotion for other people's scams early on. Because if you did it early on and you weren't like at the top of your field, nobody's gonna remember. But if you're like Lana Rhoades and you're like the #1 porn star, if you're like, I don't know what rappers got hit. I don't know if any of them really faced consequences, but like Logan Paul, obviously, is like
Dude,
kind of
I like
one
how
of the biggest YouTubers.
in the span of 24 hours, he was like, "Coffeezilla, I'm gonna fucking sue your ass," and I just want you to know that I'm really sorry about what I said. I'm not gonna sue you.
Yeah,
It
that
was like
amazing,
a
yeah.
24-hour period.
He dropped a fucking aggressive ass video, and people hated it so much that he did a complete about face immediately. That
I
was
trust in
fucking
Logan Paul. My
crazy.
hatchables are gonna be worth billions.
Have you seen
Gonna be hatching
the
little animals.
Bored
all
Ape
day.
yacht clubs? Like they're actually racist breakdown. Have you guys?
Do you believe that shit?
Uh,
Stop retweeting
I
that
am.
guy. That's so bullshit.
100% true.
I fought with that
It's
guy.
obvious.
That guy's an idiot. The Bored Apes are not
Which guy?
racist. One of the guys who keeps posting, well, actually, if you look at this helmet, it's the same as a German pith helmet from 1845.
God.
And in 1845, the Germans did this. And I'm like, it's a fucking
my
monkey in a
God.
helmet.
People did that with the Harry Potter shit, where they were like, the goblins have a flute player, and that lute is the same type
a magic
of the year
Jewish
of like
flute.
1845,
Yeah.
and that was the same when fucking Crystal knocked fire. Yeah, Jesus Christ.
I'm playing Hogwarts Legacy, and I'm like, I'm exploding that Jew. I'm setting that Jew on fire. Like, this is the most anti-Semitic fun time I've ever played.
The one monkey has a jumpsuit. Did you see about that though?
What's
That's got
the
number.
jumpsuit? Is it a racist jumpsuit?
I don't know. It's a prison jumpsuit.
Yeah,
It's got
they're
a
all
number
racist.
of somebody.
They're all secret. Who has the time to sit down and come up with coded racist messages for every fucking monkey? It's stupid.
That too, yeah. Because I always ask, like, can you imagine what the fuck the boardroom looks like that you're envisioning right now? Like, okay, listen up, fellow artists. We're all Nazis.
We're all Nazis.
obviously. So let's get that artist working on a fucking video game. We're all Nazis, of course, because this is a Nazi industry, right?
Yes.
Okay. We want to communicate that we're Nazis, but like, what is the most subtle mindfucky way we could do it? Well, in 1878,
We've all heard of this, by the way.
yeah, flute player Goldenstein had a special instrument. We're gonna give that to one of the goblins, and we're gonna give him the longest nose. In the
Oh, that's
and
gonna
it's
show
gonna be-
those
yeah.
Jews.
Like, what do you think the fucking conversations are like? Where people are hiding all these fuck? Yeah, it's so insane to me. It's like,
No,
oh my god.
Yeah.
Conspiracy theorists want the world to be far more interesting than it actually
Seriously.
And
is.
you're reading the article feeling kind of like out of touch because you don't know about any insignia that the Nazis were using to
No.
demonstrate this. And
Apparently, the
Give
Nazis.
it a look. Give it another look. I was just like you when it first launched. I was like, this is obvious bullshit.
What, the apes?
Yes, the apes.
They're absolute bullshit.
It's a giant Nazi troll, and they got every celebrity to retweet it.
I'll give you an. All right, so I was
It's
fighting.
the best.
It's like 1,000,000 pages long because the guy who thinks they're racist is insane. And at one point, he goes, "Well, these monkeys are wearing these helmets from Venture Brothers, and Venture Brothers had an episode where Hitler was reincarnated as a dog, so that's related to Hitler." And I went, "Those
Yeah.
are the helmets from Easy Rider." The Venture Brothers wore them as a reference to Easy Rider.
Yeah.
So the monkeys are also a reference to Easy Rider. They're not a reference to the Venture Brothers.
Not that part. Leave that one out.
Okay. Well, he's
So
wrong
only
on a
read
lot
the
of
good.
them.
Only
a lot
read
of
the
them,
good evidence that I'm talking
All right.
about.
I thought about adding 88 at the end of all of my usernames because I'm born in 1988, and I gotta say, oh, that's my birthday.
when I was a kid in like 1998, there were these fucking pedals and this sprocket that this one company DK made. You can go Google it, and they were called the Iron Cross pedals and the Iron Cross sprocket. And almost like half the kids I knew at the time had these fucking bike parts on, and it didn't occur to any of us that there was anything racist about it. And if it was out now, it would be like a national.
And we had these
scandal.
cool spinners on our wheels. It was this weird, like, kind of an L and another L. And
I must have been a fucking retard in high school history. I learned the swastika.
yeah.
That's the only Nazi shit. I think there was one other symbol, but now I feel like the Nazis have this whole catalog of art where
Apparently
they have like
so.
750 different types
Yeah.
of lightning bolts and
They have an eagle.
skull and crossbows
They have
and eagles.
yeah.
Yeah.
If you would have put that in American quarter, I would have thought that was a normal fucking U.S. currency.
No.
Oh my God.
Remember, as they
You can
told
see them all in
Trump,
Ukraine.
they told Trump, well, that's a Nazi eagle because the head is facing right. And you're like, shut the fuck up. You don't know anything about Nazi
That
eagles.
one's bogus.
Do you think the Nazis just had really, really great taste in badass imagery?
Yes!
Or do you
Yes.
think we
They're
now,
still German.
But do you think we now view it as badass because it was associated with something
No,
so
it
violent
was
and terrible?
absolutely cool. You look at that shit and you go,
They
that's
just had an
some
eye
good
for it.
looking
Yeah, because
stuff.
the average military is not going to be putting like these cool
No.
skull designs and shit on their
No.
apparel.
Who was
Yeah.
there were these two British comedians that do like sketches or
Mitchell
whatever.
and Webb.
Yeah, you know what I'm talking about, right?
Are we the baddies?
Yeah, because they've got
He's got a fucking
uniforms and it's like a
skull on his head.
skull and fucking like we've got like desecrated like flayed men like badgers. And it's like, are we the bad guys? Yeah.
Yeah, and his buddy goes, well, we got skulls on our hats. I think we're the bad guys. He goes, well, those are the skulls of our enemies. He's like, yeah, but it doesn't say that on the hat. You know, it just kind of looks like we're assholes with skulls on our hat. Yeah, that's one of the best it gets from those
All right.
fucking guys.
I'm going to piss my fucking pants if I don't get out of here.
I
I've been
hear
on
you.
camera all day. I appreciate you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for
Destiny,
having us on.
we'll be back tomorrow with Richard Spencer.
Yep.
Are you going to have an actual debate then? With Richard
Well, apparently
Spencer?
Spencer's like a fucking liberal now, so I don't know.
I
if
feel like they're
Yeah.
going to agree on everything, and it's going to be weird, but I'm going to try to like figure out if he's racist
Suss
or
it
not. You
out.
know?
Okay.
I feel like I got to at least do some racist talk because I couldn't find any black people who wanted to actually talk to this fucking guy.
Oh.
I got to do
How
some
hard did you
stand-in
look?
duties. I was like 2.
We can find you. We can find you some black people. And don't forget to check out The Biggest Problem in the
Yeah,
Universe
yeah.
with me and Dick Masterson at biggestproblem.show. We do a
good
weekly
show.
show every Friday.
And
good
I-
show.
And we have
I'd
a lot
also
of
like
fun.
to say I'm impressed because you said even less words during this episode than you did in the first one we filmed today.
Onlyfans.com/Farha Khalidi.
Nice
That's my
job.
plug.
Edit that up. Appreciate you guys.
Thank you,
Thank
sir.
you.
Thanks for having us.
Wow.
Always great to see the great Destiny in the flesh.